The Bruins could not hold a 2-1 third period lead last night. They lost to the Rangers 3-2 at Madison Square Garden. David Pastrnak and Elias Lindholm scored 16 seconds apart in the second period to give the Bruins the lead, but Vincent Trocheck and Chris Kreider answered in the third for the home team, and Brad Marchand's side was held to 17 shots for the night.
Kind of throw that one away, but we have to get ready for the next one here now and take what we can from it. But Vegas is always a good team, so we got to reset for that one.
They'll play their final game before their upcoming 2-week break Saturday afternoon at home against Las Vegas. As for the Celtics, they get Dallas at TD Garden tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Anthony Davis is still questionable to make his Mavericks debut after the big trade from the Lakers. Drew Holiday is questionable for the Celtics. The NBA trade deadline is at 3 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. Brad Stevens made a small move yesterday, sending Jaden Springer and a second-round pick to Houston for a second-round selection. There were also 3 big deals last night. Jimmy Butler was the largest. Miami shipped him to Golden State as part of a 5-team trade. The Warriors shipped Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a first-round pick to the Heat, and Dennis Schroeder to Utah. Butler has agreed to a new 2-year contract extension with his new team worth $121 million. Not to be outdone, the Lakers got center Mark Williams from Charlotte for their first-round draft pick this year, Dalton Connect, along with Cam Reddish and first- and second-round picks. And New Orleans has traded former All-Star Brandon Ingram to Toronto. And finally, the New York Mets have re-signed first baseman Pete Alonso. It's a 2-year, $54 million contract with an opt-out after next season. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Tuukka Rask. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Scoring the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
Fred Toucher on Instagram. Follow and see dog humping videos.
And Hardy.
I'm going to withhold sex.
On 98.5.
Hello.
Hey there.
Yo.
Can we use this for the radio?
What? Let me hear you say, oh. Na, 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 na.
Crush me, mommy.
Just not enough booty to go around?
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the post. I'll chase you around a little bit.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Instagram.
I want to dip it in, boy.
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
I'm sorry, smartass.
Someone's urinating on my leg.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tires Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then subscribe, and then get involved in the conversation. You can watch Joe at night, clips from all the shows throughout the day, and those are up there for eternity. Our coverage of Super Bowl 59 is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We have on in the conference room where we meet, the classic MTV is on, as everyone is. How old is Ryan? In his 20s or 30s?
20s, I think.
20s. Ryan is 26 years old.
Yeah, he has no say then. So,
25.
But,
when will you turn 26, Ryan? April. So he's 25.
Okay. So young Nicholas is not so young anymore. But so he's in his 30s. So that classic MTV's on. And I was seeing, and I'm like, the video for Deep Cover by Dre and Snoop.
Snoop's first single ever. Yeah.
So was on. And they're both wearing White Sox gear.
Yes.
So I went, oh, interesting. Because I know that gangs appropriate, oftentimes, most of the time, baseball teams. And it's far more involved in this, but at least at the time of that video, I'll give Georgetown Hoyas are one hat, and those are for the Chicagoland Gangster Disciples. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's more than this, I know, but this, according to this that I just found in the 5 minutes I had, 6 baseball teams affiliated with gangs You're never going to know the gangs, but would you care to guess? And there's no Bloods because there's no Red Hats, and I will give you that.
Right.
So would anyone, just based on what they've seen in rap videos and things of that nature, care to guess? What teams?
The Raiders were a lot.
These are baseball teams.
Dodgers.
Okay.
The Dodgers are the Justice Department says that there are chapters of the Crips in 221 cities and 41 states, most of them plus other crews such as Latin aspects. And the clearly hat obsessive gangster disciples wear Dodger blue,
All right.
making the gang's world's most popular headgear.
Boom.
Nicely done.
All right, so what number one is off the board? Wallach?
Okay, Yankees?
Yes. In 2007, activists in Harlem protested this Caps association with the New York City's Latin Kings, who adopted a version of the gang signature black and gold. The manufacturer quickly pulled it from the stores.
Okay.
3 years later, the New York Times reported that suspects in more than 100 serious crimes wore the traditional bomber's lid. It's also popular among the gangster disciples, who seem to have an affinity for these things. So you've named the two largest teams.
Well done, Wallach.
Thanks. You know what I did there?
You deduced it?
That's correct.
All right, so
Detroit Tigers.
no.
Oh, I thought I remember seeing like the Old English D on a hat.
There's a hat that people wear that looks like a Tigers hat, but it's not. It's like the Old English D, but it's like been
Okay, I have
taken away. But
can I get a second guess, please? A third guess, please.
Okay.
All right, it's off the board. Kansas City Royals.
Kansas City Royals.
Whoa.
This membership of Chicago's Simon City Royals has been declining steadily since the gang's formation in the 60s, and its criminal activities pale next to the Chi-Town more notorious crews, but the Bangers made a bold statement after the Royals introduced black into their color scheme back in 2002. Simon City's brethren quickly followed suit. All right, we're down to
three left.
Three left.
Have we put Chicago White Sox in the mix yet?
You have not, but that, of course, is one.
Yes.
Okay,
well
so-
done, Adam, because breaking from the Dodgers, gear rocked by their Crips forebears, LA's rolling 60s are drawn to the Big S. So I take it that's why Dre and Snoop are wearing the Sox gear. Snoop is a Crip. Not an active Crip,
No.
but he is affiliated with the Crips. He gives the Crip sign and stuff in videos. So I take it. It's too much of a coincidence that Dre has got a Sox hat on and that Snoop is wearing a Sox like bomber jacket.
Right, and like a starter jacket. I think.
Yeah, like a starter jacket, right? And so like it's a little too coincidental,
Right.
So they're talking about their affiliation with the Crips there.
There are two left. Wallach, you have two chances to get one of the two, just to keep things fair.
One's impossible, and one you've seen before. And again, this isn't representative. You could be saying something that's right, but it's just not on this list.
Okay. It would be really funny if the Red Sox were one of them. So for the humor factor alone, I'll say Red Sox.
The Red Sox are, and that's with the Bloods, but that's not on this list. But I'm sorry. There's three teams left. The Red Sox are associated with the Bloods sometimes with the B.
Yeah.
So that is true, but not on this list. So I will give you half a point.
Okay.
We'll never get one of them. Okay.
I'll go out there and
But
say,
in the spirit of the Red Sox, the blood, and I told you the Bloods aren't on here. The Bloods are on here. What hat would the Bloods
Cardinals?
like? That's not a bad guess, but it's even more obvious.
Cincinnati.
The Cincinnati Reds. Yeah. Last year, Complex Magazine dubbed this cap the second most popular among gangs. Credit the 30,000-strong roster of the L.A.-based Bloods. But the Deep Crew is fond of all scarlet gear, including the Chicago Bulls and the Kansas City Chiefs. How's the Kansas City Chiefs? Oh, Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. All right, so here we go. We are down to two teams. One you might get, one you're never going to get.
Oh, okay.
Because you're gonna have heard of the gang, but not the particular subset of the gang.
Think West Coast. San Diego.
No, you have to remember it's not. Except for the Dodgers, it's more to do with the letter. Okay. You're not going to get these. Okay. But can you just think of like videos where rappers have worn like a non-traditional? Hardy will never get this because the Gin Blossoms just wear.
Lyle Lovett does not rock any gang gear.
No, he just wears a 10-gallon hat.
No, he wears a suit.
You can wear a suit and 10-gallon hat. I'll take you to any oil baron.
Yeah,
sharp look.
I'll take you to any oil baron. Anyone who's rootin'
watch
tootin'.
Dallas, idiot.
Yeah, it's stupid. Do you want me to just tell you? Because
Yes.
one of them's impossible.
Yeah, what's the impossible one?
The Minnesota Twins.
Oh, jeez.
From the southwest to the south side of Chicago, the Manic Latin Disciples hoard mini-gear. Now that the Twins also sport the TC logo, MLD, the Maniac Latin Disciples donned Miami and Michigan hats too. The one you might have seen on rappers is the Pirates. PNC Park draws the fourth fewest fans of the majors, but there are plenty of Bucks believers in the streets. In L.A. alone, the Piru Bloods, who I've read about before, an offshoot of the original Bloods, run 31 different chapters, most of which rock the iconic P.
Oh,
okay.
So there you go. That's a little less than early in the morning.
That's good.
Because I thought to myself, they're making a statement here.
What is the statement?
And I'm like, I know that I don't think Dre was gang affiliated. He might have, and I guess that you can be affiliated to a gang and not be an active gang member, especially if you're famous. And that's kind of what Snoop is, because he's still to this day. I mean, he's doing stuff with Martha Stewart, and he's in every commercial, but he still represents himself as a Crip.
That's amazing to me. He does all these like Corona commercials. I mean, who had Snoop as like America's grandfather as he got older? It's amazing to me.
I heard of someone who I know a guy who recently worked with Snoop and said he was a really good guy, but that it's no joke. Like he was shooting a commercial and Snoop was in a trailer and he went into the trailer and he said that it was like a steam room, which is hard to do. Like, because with vapes and everything else, and like, that he just smokes like rolled joints, and to such a degree that it can make something so smoky. He's like, when was the last time you were in a place that was like that, like just filled with smoke? And he can function perfectly under that inebriated. It's quite amazing. He's so used to weed.
Yeah.
And you know the stories of people that have smoked with him. It's like the Willie Nelson stories.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Knoxville's got a story that he smoked with Snoop Dogg. Or no, he smoked with Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
And that it was no fun. That Willie Nelson was just smoking them like cigarettes, and Johnny Knoxville took like 4 hits. And he was no stranger to drugs. He took like 4 hits, and he was like, oh, no. Oh, no, no, no.
Was it Seth Rogen, too, talked about smoking with Snoop Dogg?
I don't know. Seth Rogen has his own strain of weed.
Yeah,
so Seth Rogen he says he's constantly high.
Right, but I seem to remember a story about him the first time he's like, whoa, like I like weed, but this is too much now.
Yeah. Like he smokes a phenomenal amount of very powerful weed.
So Willie Nelson and Snoop are the leaders right now in the clubhouse?
I think so.
So Willie Nelson in his backyard has an Old West town. Like wherever he is in the middle of nowhere, Texas, he's got this big Old West town like with buildings and stuff. And the reporter was embedded with Willie Nelson. This isn't long ago, just a few years ago. And in every building, there are like tables with bowls, and in the bowls are pre-rolled joints. Just like so, one of his assistants or two of his assistants roll joints for him because there's no way he buys them pre-rolled. Roll joint for him with whatever crazy strain he likes, and leaves them throughout the property. Like so, anywhere Willie goes, he immediately has a joint to smoke.
I heard a commercial yesterday that Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan are touring. They're gonna play Xfinity Center this summer.
So they're the guys with the 2 worst voices ever in popular music are touring together.
Okay, that is not true with Willie. Now, you may not care for the tone of his voice, but there are other people who are quote unquote worse, in my opinion.
Like just a non-traditionally bad singing voice.
So okay, yeah, and again, this is all opinion.
But Willie Nelson's voice is very unusual.
It's very unusual. Yeah. I never got Neil Young. Like I don't think Neil Young can sing. Like I think he's bad at singing.
Yeah, he can't, but doesn't stop me from liking him. And I know you like him a little bit too.
No, I really don't.
You haven't come around on him at all?
No.
There are others like that. There's no middle ground. You either love them or can't stand them. I think Dylan is one. Springsteen's another. You know?
Well, but they like now you're getting like nitpicky about if you like the way they sing. Like Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, no one else sounds like them. And if they trade, okay, if Willie Nelson or Bob Dylan tried out for like an a cappella group, or like tried out to like sing for like a whatever, like some chorus situation, they would be the first people kicked out. They'd be kicked out maybe before one of us. Like their voices are that completely unusual. I mean, Bob Dylan's voice is not good.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, Willie understands like notes and harmonies and stuff like that. Now his voice is so like off-putting and unusual that I agree he's not going to make it in any like choral group.
Right.
I don't know if Dylan gets like the whole like pitch thing.
Oh no, Dylan's worse than but just they're both together. So I would say that. I don't hate either of them. I'm not fans of necessarily either of them.
The thing with Willie that I didn't get for a long time is I think he's like a frustrated jazz guitarist, especially when you see him live. Like he can really, really play. And again, it's a unique style. He's carved out. It's the toughest thing in the world to do, to be unique in like the realest sense of the word. Like, man, he's different. And he's got this, 100-year-old guitar that he keeps getting patched up and fixed every single year. And he plays it in a way that if you're watching YouTube videos, you probably wouldn't think he's any good. But if you listen to music at all and see what he's doing, it's like, oh, he's doing like really interesting things, especially on that old beat-up guitar, that he's actually a very, very good guitarist. It just sounds so weird, and he sounds so weird that I think people just kind of dismiss him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he certainly made a lot of money and lost it and made it back. But and then along those lines, you just said that they're coming. Black Sabbath is reforming with Ozzy, and they're trying to get Bill Ward to play drums again for one show in July. So the bill is Black Sabbath, then Ozzy solo, then Metallica, like Gojira, Slayer, Anthrax. It's like this insane bill, and then featuring Jonathan Davis, special performances of Jonathan Davis from Korn, Sammy Hagar, but it's just Jonathan Davis from Sammy Hagar. Da 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 da. So the belief is that it's a crapshoot if Ozzy's going to even be able to perform. And like Bill Ward, no one knows what kind of condition he's, the drummer for Black Sabbath. So like that's Ozzy's dream was to do one last show, and he wants to do the show with Bill Ward in Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. Bill Ward hasn't played with Sabbath in a really long time. So the belief is though they've announced this like insane lineup. Whatever you think of these bands, like all these bands, Slayer and Metallica and Gojira could probably play. Certainly Metallica could headline a stadium, in Slayer could come close. So like if they haven't toured in a while, and so whatever, it's this huge lineup that Ozzy, that it's a crapshoot if Ozzy's even going to be able to play. So they backloaded it so much just in case.
Oh, he won't be like healthy enough to play?
Yeah, like he can't. Well, Eddie said yesterday that because Ozzy had been performing in like a chair, like he can't.
Right.
And it would be odd that he would get any better. He's got like all these medical conditions, like that aren't going to go away. Like they can maybe be controlled, but they're not going to go away. So maybe he would like sing a song and then move, and then like someone else will take the mic and like sing. But then it would make you wonder how he would be able to do a solo set after that. So, I don't know.
We're getting into Frankie Valli territory. I don't know.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Those Frankie Valli videos are the funniest videos on the internet.
He's animatronic at this point.
It's hysterical.
Dude, I was watching a rerun of The Sopranos the other day, which I don't think of as being on that long ago. Frankie Valli is a character, a recurring character, and he's upright and speaking and has lines. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
he got really old really fast.
Well, Frankie... Well, you can't live long being like Frankie Valli is now. Frankie Valli's at the very, very end. Like, they put it, Frankie Valli, he did the Grease song. He's big, like, 50s guy. They put him in a suit, and they have a big band and, like, 5 singers, male singers.
Right.
And they play a backing track of the song, like Grease, say.
Yeah.
And he stands there sort of holding the mic, not towards his mouth. And he just moves his mouth like...
confused jaw movement.
Like he's like he's like smacking his oatmeal.
Yeah.
So like he's not even remotely singing. And then there's these like 5 Italian guys behind him dancing and smiling and singing like nothing's going on. You see the light. But if you mic'd them up, it would sound like this. But then if you had a mic right next to his mouth, it would sound like... All right. Well, there you go. Lots of music news to start off. The Bruins played last night. There were a bunch of trades in the NBA. We can get all up into it. All up in there. Yeah. In just a moment.
Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
That's it?
Okay.
That's all?
All right.
Okay. All right. Bruins playing last night in New York to take on the Rangers. Rangers would score first, but David Pastrnak says, oh, no, not so fast.
Zacha wins it back to McAvoy, who winds and fires. It goes up off the back glass. Zacha's got it back at Pastrnak. One-timer got blocked. Pastrnak got it right back and scores! First shot was blocked, came right back onto his stick, and he beats Shesterkin and ties the game at 1.
Okay, so that's at the 15:03 mark of the first period. We all know what the Bruins have been kind of infamous for lately, which is giving up a goal moments after they score. And you also remember, if you're listening to Billy Chaffee yesterday, we said this is a really important couple of games here for the Bruins heading in, to the Four Nations, and what are they going to do before the deadline, and what type of team is going to be out there. If you win a couple of games, you show that maybe you're worthy of something. Maybe you don't subject yourself to a huge move, and that's going to get rid of players that you'd rather have on board. So the Bruins seem to be operating under that same belief. And instead of giving up a goal a minute after they score one.
Elias Lindholm gets one for Marchand here. Shoots and scores! And just like that, the Bruins go from 1 down to 1 up. Elias Lindholm makes it 2-1.
16 seconds after David Pastrnak tied the game, Elias Lindholm on a goal where he was assisted by Brad Marchand and Nikita Zadorov puts the Bruins up 2-1. Fantastic. That's all your second period scoring. There was nothing in the first, so that was all second period. All right? Then things went poorly for the Bruins. Brad Marchand called for a roughing the goalie penalty. After the game, this is what Marchand had to say about the roughing the goalie penalty.
I was just questioning him about when a guy pulls your helmet off, it's an automatic penalty. So I was just curious why they didn't call it when it's automatic.
That was in the scrum afterwards.
So what happened is that Marchand went up to the official wouldn't talk to him. So when there was a break, apparently Marchand through the whole break, like the 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, was talking to the official and apparently saying, you need to look at this after. He was upset about the roughing what he was upset about was the roughing the goal.
Right.
penalty.
Yeah, get pushed into the goalie.
And so he was like, I just want you to look at this after the game. Promise me you're going to look at this after the game. And because he was so pissed off about it.
In reality, it was barely a bump. Yeah, he kind of went into him. Yeah, he was pushed in, but it wasn't like Shesterkin went flying. He sold it a little bit, but I've seen less go through a non-call. I mean, the problem was, of course, the Rangers rushed to a goaltender's rescue, and Marchand's down, and in the pile, you really can't see it, somebody ripped his helmet off, which is an automatic penalty, but somehow the refs missed it.
Well, that puts the Bruins on the penalty kill.
Here's Miller. Back over to that far side. Brodzinski peels away from Beecher. 5 to go in the power play. Miller to Brodzinski, a shot. That hit Trocheck. Comes back to Miller. High slot. Shot. Score. Trocheck redirected on the back door. Just as the power play expired, Marchand is hot and giving the referee what for, but the Rangers have tied it.
He had just hopped out of the box, so I think it's a 5-on-5 goal, but certainly was not back in the play. Just came out of the penalty box. He should be hot. That's a gift.
There you go. There is Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers on the call. All right, so now it's a tie game once again, 2-2. The Bruins have a chance, though. And this is what we're talking about, man. They've actually played well in this game. And
after the first 12 or 15 minutes.
Well, after
really well.
Yeah, after the first period.
First 10 minutes, no shots, no face-off wins. To say they started poorly is an understatement.
Yeah.
They did not play well early.
John, slow start, okay?
But they played really well in the second and the third.
Second period was fantastic.
Yes.
Third period, there's good hockey. It was a good game to watch. And now they're on the power play with a tie game and a chance to do something.
Here's a Banajot on a 2-on-1 for Kreider near side, who shoots and scores. The pass got blocked and kicked right over to Kreider anyway. And he beats Korpisalo top shelf to make it 3-2 with a shorthanded goal.
Have you seen the replay of this goal? Either one of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain to me why Korpisalo is sitting down when that shot is made.
Okay, you and I are arguing about this very early this morning. I told you he got tired. And you try standing there for 60 minutes on skates.
That's on me. I'm sorry, but it looked like Korpisalo sat down, giving the entire top half of the goal to a very good goal scorer.
Power play was almost over. It was at the end of the Bruins power play.
Bruins power play, right?
Yeah. So
everybody was tired. Okay.
And he thought, wow, I've been standing here for almost the whole game now.
Okay.
He got tired.
I'll take your word for it.
Thank you. Okay, so that's it. Bruins fall to the Rangers.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want something else about the game, I mean, the Bruins had some pretty good chances, after that to tie things up. There was a miss of an open, half an open net.
That was Koepke coming down the slot.
Yeah, and then there was, the goaltender for the Rangers played very well last night, but
when they pulled Korpisalo and had the extra skater, I thought they looked really good.
Pasternak. Yeah, I'm sorry. Pasternak put one off the boards that went right in front, and they couldn't get it in. Lowry couldn't get it in. I don't blame Lowry. I mean, he got a stick on it.
It was just bad luck. But the point is, you're right. The Bruins had a couple of really good chances they just missed on. Second and third period, they looked really good.
But the problem with that is that, as we talked to Billy about yesterday, even Billy Jaffe admits that you can't lose to the Rangers. Like, now you're in a point where these are bad losses because you're going to have to win 65% of your games for the rest of the season to make sure you get in, and to lose to an Eastern Conference team like that's in the mix. I mean, these aren't good losses.
Still tied with Tampa Bay for that last wild card, but the Lightning now have 4 games in hand.
Yeah, they're not. Yes, they're not tied with the Lightning. They are in spirit.
Same point total. Same point total, Fred.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. If the Lightning lose the next 4 games,
that's correct.
They'll have the same.
Then they're all
point
even.
Right. If they don't get a point in 4 straight games, the Lightning, as well coached as they are, maybe that will happen.
That's the whole that sticky thing about the points. You can actually lose the game, but still get a point out of it.
You know what's interesting is that they did the Athletic did something with the National Hockey League, and they pulled like 111 players, I think, about the best facilities, the coaches they'd want to play for, the worst cities to play in.
Buffalo.
And I will ask you this, the player poll, because I'll just ask you 2 of them. If you had a no-trade list, what is the first team on it?
Buffalo.
Second by a lot. Second, first was first had 49%.
What's there's a couple of Canadian teams that these guys don't want to go to.
It's so obvious it's staring you square in the face. Where would you not want to play?
I don't want to play in Edmonton.
Edmonton's
or Calgary.
They all want to play in Edmonton.
Really?
They all
Edmonton,
want to play.
is
Calgary Calgary's 4th.
Winnipeg
with 49% of the vote. Then Buffalo, San Jose, Calgary, Ottawa, Anaheim, and the Rangers. All right. Now, this is the only other one I want to do. What coach would you like to play for other than your own? If you want to guess number 1, that's fine. This guy had 24%, so he won by a lot. If you'd care to guess, I'm just going to – just one thing I want to say about it. 2 things I want to say about it. Go ahead. Did you guess?
Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
Jim Montgomery is 5th. Fifth on the list of guys that they'd want to play for. And then John Cooper is by far and then the coaches you would least like to play for. This is interesting. You'll get one. Who's the coach?
Tortorella.
Tortorella by a lot. Second, Bruce Cassidy.
I was going to guess Bruce Cassidy
Interesting.
on the other side. So they don't want to play for Cassidy.
Right. Bruce
when you we heard what was the famous quote? He is a prick from tip to tail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny but he's one, right? So it says Bruce Cassidy at number 2 is an interesting development, though, given his success he's had with the Golden Knights. That's what I'm hearing from around the league, one player said. I haven't heard too many good things about the Vegas coach Cassidy. Another said, I don't really know him that well, but I haven't heard anything good about him. And then this is just funny, just a random thing. One player didn't even know Anaheim's Ducks coach Greg Cronin's name, but picked him anyway. Who's Anaheim's coach? I heard from other players that he's not great to play for. They have a lot of decent skill that they should be a good team, but they're not.
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah. And I
Who's
guess
the guy they still have a team in Anaheim? Who's coaching them? Yeah, I don't want to play for that guy.
And the saddest one is Lindy Ruff, got a handful of votes. I just think he's too old.
Oh.
Lindy Ruff has been back and forth out of Buffalo for like 3 decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Mike Babcock's not even coaching, and he was third on the list.
Lindy Ruff is 60. He's about to be 65 years old.
Yeah, I think he's still Buffalo's coach, but I think this is his second or third time there.
Well, he's 8-9 years younger than Pete Carroll. So, you know, that just shows you the vitality of young Pete Carroll. All right, we can break here because when we come back, a lot of activity with the NBA trade deadline. There was a 5-team trade. These things couldn't get any more complicated. But we will get into it and what that means and everything else. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins lost to the New York Rangers last night 3-2 at Madison Square Garden. Chris Kreider's shorthanded goal in the third period was the difference. The Bruins will play Las Vegas at TD Garden on Saturday. Celtics play Dallas at the Garden tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Drew Holiday questionable for the Celtics. Anthony Davis now questionable to play for Dallas. Celtics also made a small trade yesterday. Jaden Springer and a second-round pick went to Houston for a second-round selection. There were also 3 big NBA trades last night. Miami Heat pulled off the big one. They sent Jimmy Butler to Golden State as part of a 5-player trade. Butler agreed to a 2-year, $121 million contract extension with the Warriors. The NBA trade deadline is at 3 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Wedgwood Pines Country Club in Stowe. Now accepting new membership applications. Enjoy a pristine 18-hole championship golf course with practice area, indoor golf simulators, and a 19th hole with covered outside seating and fire pits. Apply now at wedgwoodpines.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
In the mood for a warm, hearty meal? Visit the 99 restaurant and try their home-style chicken pot pie. Freshly baked to order and topped with a buttery, flaky crust. Or try the new double barbecue.
alarm clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
With FanDuel. All right, Hardy, what else is going on?
All right, well, there were all the types of things happening yesterday. First of all, Kevin Durant not playing last night, so a lot of people thought, oh, that's got something to do with Kevin Durant going to Golden State. Oh, he's actually going to make that move. What's going to happen? No. It all had to do with, number one, Kevin Durant finally coming out and saying, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go back to Golden State. It's not in my interest. I want to stay there in Phoenix. So instead, the Jimmy Butler long national nightmare ended when he was traded to the Golden State Warriors as part of a 10-team global deal, including teams in the Far East.
Someone went to FC Barcelona.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So they were, in fact, in negotiations with Phoenix about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant said, I don't want to go. So instead, Butler will decline his $52 million player option for next year and instead will sign or hopes to sign a new 2-year, $111 million deal.
He's signing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's a done deal.
And in return, the Warriors will send Andrew Wiggins and Kyle Anderson, plus a top 10 protected 2025 first-round pick to the Miami Heat. Dennis Schroeder still kicking around. He's still out there. He just got picked up by the Warriors in December. He's going to the Utah Jazz.
Dennis Schroeder, I want to say this. Dennis Schroeder's been traded 6 times in the last 6.5 years, including once by the Celtics, by the way.
Phenomenal. Everybody wants him. Everybody wants Dennis Schroeder.
Yes.
So Utah, of course, is involved in this trade. So Schroeder goes to the Utah Jazz. Utah is sending P.J. Tucker to Miami, who played in Miami before.
Yes.
Lindy Waters is going from Golden State to the Pistons, and Josh Richardson goes from Miami to Detroit. I get it all, Wallach?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm all over it.
The long and short of it is that Jimmy Butler is now a member of the Golden State Warriors.
Miami's better if Butler's playing and trying.
Yes.
Did Miami get anything, John, of any value?
Andrew Wiggins is a solid player. He's not close to Jimmy Butler.
Number one,
and they
overall
got
pick.
a first round draft pick will convey Golden
Protected.
State. But it's top 10 protected. I think Golden State's not going to land in the lottery. I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I think that it's first round pick, but it's a first round pick.
Yeah, whatever.
So they got Andrew Wiggins,
value.
Andrew Wiggins, and a low first round pick, basically. For
don't forget about Kyle Anderson.
And Kyle Anderson, right?
What do you know about Lindy Waters III?
I know nothing about Lindy Waters III.
And Josh Richardson.
Yes. Nice bench player. Nice role player.
Yeah.
Older.
So there you go. Yeah, 31. All right. So, so Jimmy Butler, now everyone's saying that Golden State today has to get a center. They have to get a big if they want to really compete. Because it would be interesting if they had Draymond, Butler, and Curry, and that they didn't make the play-in tournament.
Yeah. That would, I mean.
They lost last night. So
they lost last night being up 11, I believe, with 3 minutes to play. And that hasn't happened to the Golden State Warriors having a double-digit lead with 3 minutes to play and actually losing a game in a long time. By the way, did Billy text you last night, Fred?
Yes.
I don't know how I do know how I screwed it up. I heard something on the TV 2 games ago when the Bruins were playing that was Swayman's first shutout. We all just talked about it like it was a thing. Not his first shutout of the season. That happened a couple of nights ago. It was his second or third. Maybe it was his first of this calendar year, but even that I'm not sure. I didn't go back and check it. All Billy wanted to do was tell me that I was wrong.
Oh, no, I got the text from Billy with the fight.
Oh, yeah. Did you reply to that?
No.
I mean,
Why'd he send that?
I don't know, but I hate group texts to begin with because you're saying something to the person who sent it, but then you have to consider what you're saying to the other person who's on it. And I don't know about you, I speak differently to different people. Like I have a a language I use when I'm talking to you, which is different than the language I would use when I'm talking to Billy, and which one do I use?
Right. So, yeah, he sent, maybe that's the guy he was talking about, tried to fight him when he was a kid, like when he just got out of college.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But Swayman, my apologies to Jeremy Swayman.
I'm sure he's very offended.
Everyone who corrected me yesterday, which was only Billy Jaffe 8 hours after the fact.
Yes.
All right. So the thing with Jimmy Butler going to the Golden State, they've kind of put themselves in not the same position as they would have had Kevin Durant gone there. Because I think if Kevin Durant goes there, you are expected to not just make a play in turn. You're expected to go on a run here.
Yeah.
And
Western Conference Finals.
Do something special. And if you don't, it's going to make everyone involved look bad.
The whole Durant thing is just weird. I mean, why wouldn't you accept a trade where you have a chance? He's not going anywhere in Phoenix. So why would you not accept a trade to go try and win another championship?
Because I don't think they're going to win another championship. I don't think he wants to look foolish in the process.
I think he has bad feelings towards how his time there was treated. That he was cherry picking a championship. He's a very petty man.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm just letting you know. He's a very petty man.
It's not like he hangs on online and waits for stuff, does he?
Or makes dummy accounts and starts commenting on stuff, people talking about him.
I don't know if there's a more sensitive athlete currently.
Yeah,
than Kevin Durant.
And I don't look at him like he's a dig. I look at him with sympathy. Like that's got to suck. Like that you've accomplished all this. You're a top 20 player of all time, certainly, and you got to think top 20, top 30 player of all time.
10 players walking the face of the planet, and you still can't get out of your own way.
Right, and so
it's amazing.
If the NBA did an all 50 all time team, Kevin Durant's on it.
Sure,
yeah. So like you've got championships, you've done all this stuff, and you're just not happy. And apparently he's like not. Remember we talked to someone who like it was. Like embedded with him for like a long time, and
yes,
all Kevin did was like go home and play video games and like complain.
Yeah, he smoked. He smoked. He played video games. He was on the phone with Kyrie. That was another thing. And he talked about wanting to get together with his buddy and all that. Yeah, no, he was imprisoned basically.
And then he puts himself in these situations that don't work out. Like the only thing that worked out for him, he still gets booed in Oklahoma City, so he hates that. He put himself in that situation in Phoenix where he won a couple championships, and no one's going to care how he got them 20 years from now. Like, he's going to be a two-time champion. Better be a champion than not a champion.
He's MVP of the league.
But then he runs around to all these other teams, and it doesn't work out. So, he's won gold medals. Like, I don't know what he needs to be happy. He's just never going to be happy. And I have sympathy for that. I mean, that's not something he wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one wants to feel like that. Like, no matter what you accomplish, you still feel that everyone's talking about you and everyone's treating you like crap. That's a terrible way to live your life. There's nothing that can fix that except you working on yourself, right? There's no exterior thing that can fix Kevin Durant. There's nothing he could do. Like, if Phoenix went on a run this year and won a championship, you think he's going to be happy? Like 2 weeks later, like that's going to fix him. So I have great sympathy for Kevin Durant. That's not, you work your whole life, you have all these natural gifts, it all works out, and you're just still miserable. And you keep shooting yourself in the foot basketball wise by, letting petty stuff get in the way of you putting yourself in the best situation for yourself.
This latest thing of him not leaving Phoenix and going to Golden State, that's going to look like a black mark on his resume too, because he will have a hell of a better chance going to Golden State than he would have where he is now.
But I'm telling you, that's why he doesn't want to go to Golden State.
I understand, but
there's a reason.
He doesn't win either way, I guess is my point.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. You would prefer to win. And the thing is, though, that he's probably all butthurt at Golden State fans. And it's probably the fans. or the fans of the NBA. Like something's keeping him from doing it.
There was that problem with Draymond there for a while too, if I remember right.
Well, if you have a problem with Draymond, that's on you.
And you got a problem.
Yes.
But at its core, he probably realizes this is his own doing. He played for a team that took Golden State to Game 7, up 3-0 against that team, and ended up losing. Weren't they up? Wasn't Oklahoma City up? They were up 3-1 in the series. Ended up losing to Golden State, and the very next year he says, "I'll just go play with them."
Yeah,
it really was
bad.
It was a terrible look,
bad.
and he knows what he did, and people were not afraid to tell him about it.
Do you think that those guys regret or will regret that they didn't stick around in Oklahoma City?
I think
there will be a part. It's going to take a while. But
Harden hasn't won a title, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Has Westbrook won a title? If he has, he wasn't a main player.
I want
right?
to say no. I unless I'm missing something. I don't think he has. No.
Okay.
And Durant had. Durant won a bunch.
Yeah, but he's not happy with the ones he won.
No.
So,
I don't think Westbrook won one.
So
no, he has not.
So if Westbrook, Harden haven't won them, and Durant doesn't like the ones he's won, maybe they all would have been better off sticking around.
That was a juggernaut. That team. All of them were young. All of them. Were
if they would have,
got rid of Harden real early. But
I know.
But those two guys, if you had managed to find a third guy for Westbrook and Durant when they were in their 20s, oh man.
Yeah, they would have. That would have been a whole thing. And no matter what, they could be charged with felonies in that town. And I know Oklahoma City is not a great town, but it's a town.
Yes.
Like you would be just forever. Your grandkids would be legends in that town.
The fans in that town are ridiculous about that basketball team when they're good.
And there is something to be said for just being universally unconditionally loved.
No,
you
could have
Probert in Detroit
could have bought the city if they had won a championship.
Probert, Detroit, you get like 8 DUIs. Everyone still loved him. Like you get busted at the Canadian border. Everyone still loved him. There was nothing he could do. Everyone just loved him. There's something to be said for that. It's why no one leaves St. Louis when they retire. None of them leave St. Louis. Even though St. Louis is a dump, all those Cardinal players don't leave. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got your finger on the pulse, Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
Kinda looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Our coverage of Super Bowl 59 is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You know, it used to be so much fun to wake up in the morning and to monitor the radio for school closings when you know that the snow was coming. And I know that schools call and stuff, but it's not as fun as getting up and listening to the radio. And, you know, today some bad weather is scheduled. It has not arrived yet, but it's scheduled to come. Don't you worry. Mm-hmm. So let's relive those days, shall we? And give people some school closings as we bring in our own Nick Gemelli. I was looking at something.
Nick knew he was coming in for this segment. Oh, did you hear the floor shake when he ran?
Look at that.
I heard it.
I felt the floor shake.
I heard it through glass.
He's out of breath.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be super out of breath. He sprinted for a good 2 seconds.
Walking past here. That's not just me.
Huh?
You can hear everybody walking past here. That's just not me.
I felt it.
You felt it?
There was a vibration.
When you hit the counter in here,
All
I
right,
feel it in my
let's
counter.
do this. I got a bad ankle, but I'm willing to do this. I'm going to do what Nick just did. You tell me if you can hear it. Be honest. If you can hear it, you can hear it. Just tell me.
All right.
All right.
Fred, Fred leaving the room.
All right, hold on. Okay. All right, all right, everyone.
So now he's in position.
All right, Fred's going to run past the studio in the hallway outside. Here we go.
Don't play anything you said.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I could hear it, but could not feel it.
Okay.
Yes. Nick, you have that extra step. That extra step with you. You can.
How much you weigh, Nick?
I weigh 193.
We weigh the same.
There we go.
All right, here we go. So here's the deal. Nick, we've given you a list of list of names.
Marty's going to give it to you right when we start.
All right, so here are a list of school closings. Now, listen, this isn't just local anymore. This is, we're on the internet. We're international.
There's bad weather across this great nation.
That's right.
All right, so let's get to it. Let's have Nick.
Pre-K.
Stop.
That's a local one.
That's in Blue Hills. That's
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that.
All right, try it again. Sound it out.
Ponka, Pogog. Ponka Pogog. Pre-K.
Say it again.
Ponka Poag. Ponka Poag.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty
because
close.
you were saying "ga," and you were putting the G in front of the A. All right, very good.
Ponshu Eng.
All right, don't worry about that one. All right, so go to the next one, and don't help them.
Reykjavik.
All right, just say the last word.
Javid.
No. The one you just read, say where there's a hyphen and then the word. Say it.
No, there isn't.
Regional hyphen.
Okay.
This word. That word.
Do you know what a hyphen? It is the biggest city in Iceland.
People go there for the nightlife. They go there for weekends.
They see old people, young people, all
people
drinking.
your age go there now. This is a big destination.
And the schools are closed today.
Reykjavik.
All right, let's go to the Rhode Island one. Down here, the Q with the Rhode Island, because that's at least local.
Lake, no effing way I'm going to try to do that.
All right.
Yeah. I'll try it. Gag, Gog, Manch, Og,
trombone, please. He is walking.
Notre Dame.
All right, play the trombone if you could. All right. In fairness, some of these were very difficult. The one that was the most fascinating to me is that he had never heard of Reykjavik.
Yeah.
That was a little surprising.
Well, and I apologize for yelling at you, Nick, when we were trying to get you to just say the word Iceland.
I was going to bust his balls if he didn't get Kennesaw, but because he should know that. But then, just a couple tries at Livonia, and he got that. All right, very good.
Ka-po-ag.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you. I hope that gave everyone warm feelings about when they used to be in school. What gives
Montessori. Montessori.
Yeah, he didn't know Montessori either. But here's the thing, is that we have a very heated time politically. There's no question about it. There's a lot of controversy. There were protests yesterday in the streets, and we have to bring in someone from WBZ AM radio, the night owl, the host that takes you into the night. Gary Tangwell will be joining us to break it all down in just a moment.
Aqua.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, guys, you might be suffering from erectile dysfunction, and it's probably something, if you have been suffering, it's certainly for some time. If you've just started suffering from it,
off the ice. Come on, y'all, it's time to get nice. And I don't want to know. I'm just going to stay inside my house. I'm going to watch The Diplomat. I'm going to watch some movies. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to hang out with my family. I'm going to do a little teaching. I'll talk to Bob Bryan on a podcast twice a week, but I'm not going to pay attention to anything in the real world. I'm not going to do it because it's too scary and it's too depressing.
And that was the way Gary Tanguay welcomed his listeners to his shift the other night on WBZ AM as he was hosting a political talk show. He said, don't worry about me. I'm not paying attention to anything. Gary Tanguay, of course, is a good friend of ours. Oh, and I just hung up on him. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I tried to lock him in.
No worries.
And
we'll get him right back.
If we can get Gary back up.
I'll get him locked in. I'll let you know when he's back.
Yeah. I mean, Gary has to deal with some outrageous callers, of course.
Let's go to Tom in West Virginia. Are you closer to Pittsburgh?
No, I'm in Pocahontas County. I grew up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. I'm a union man. I never crossed a picket line. Do you understand me, yes or no?
I understand you, too. I'm a union man as well.
SAG-AFTRA.
Okay. As far as these free trade agreements for union slobs like me, it will cut down on illegal immigration. None of those predictions ever came true.
Well, when you
Do
say
I hate
it,
Mexicans? No.
I'm lost. I'm losing something. When you said it, what is it?
NAFTA. Come on, man. You got a brain?
All right, so that is what Gary's dealing with.
No.
He is a professor at which
Emerson.
one? Emerson.
Yeah.
Gary, thank you for joining us.
Fred, thanks for having me. And it's not. There's something you got to get straight. It's not when I do the show, it's not a political talk show. It's filler fruit.
Filler what?
I told that it's not when I do the radio show. It's not a political talk show.
What was the term you used?
Filler what?
Oh, I don't know, Fred. I have no idea.
Filler fruit sounds to me like you're just trying to get to the end of the shift.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Is that what they want?
That's exactly what it is. Look, Dan Ray's the guy. Like, he's talking to Josh Kraft tonight. I also think it's amazing that I'm talking about another radio station on a radio station that's not part of the ownership group. I find that fascinating. But, like, Josh Kraft is
they're
talking to
big
Dan
competition.
Ray tonight.
All right.
Well, yeah. Josh Kraft is talking to Dan Ray tonight.
Okay, I don't. That doesn't concern me. But last night you were on Nightside and you promoted it. I follow you on Instagram like a good friend.
Thank you.
And you, the first thing was that how Boston's mayoral race is already heating up, which is political. But then it says Nichols College students work the Super Bowl, which sounds interesting. Todd Finnard and the future of in-person shopping.
Finnard.
Director Tori Champagne, who you pulled out from your years at NBC Sports Boston.
Oh, totally.
On top football movies. So you just... How many people did you call before you got to Tori?
Oh, he's always number one on the list.
No way.
I talk to friends. I swear to God, like Sam Metler is my friend from California. He's really into politics. I have him on every time I'm on. I have him on. I call my friends first. I would rather talk to people I know. I don't really want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to experts and all that. I just want to talk to my friends. I'm a fill-in host. Okay, I'm Cantaloupe. That's all I do. I'm a fill-in host, and I told them, I just want to talk to my friends. If you want me to do it, that's fine. Oh, I always call my friends first. Absolutely.
Are you friends with Boston-born comedian Jackie Flynn?
I know him. Yeah, and I know his sister.
Okay, so
and I know Bobby Fairley, and I love the show Loudermilk. And I met, Jackie before, so yeah, I know him.
Jackie's on Loudermilk? Loudermilk?
Yeah. Have you guys watched Loudermilk on Netflix?
I have.
Oh, I love it. I think it's hilarious.
It's pretty good. Who does Jackie Flynn on Loudermilk?
He plays the bookie. He plays the bookie, the guy that's well dressed, Tony Rossetti.
Is he in the AA meeting?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't recognize him. All right. Well, very good. I don't recognize him from Loudermilk, but that doesn't mean he's not on it. How is the acting thing going for you?
Fred, we keep on keeping on. You know what I'm saying? We
right.
keep going on. I've auditioned for Law and Order. I got to audition for a part with Mariska Hargitay. I didn't get it, but I got to audition for it.
Did you audition with her?
No, God, no.
Okay, you didn't get to that stage of the audition.
No, I don't even think. No, look, this is what I auditioned for on Law and Order.
Oh no, because she's on Law and Order. I thought it was for. I'm sorry. So yeah, you would never audition with her. Okay,
so this, you put it on tape. You just,
Right.
you put it on tape and you send it in. This is what I get on Law and Order every time. It's the lawyer of the perp, right?
Yeah.
So the way the script always goes
Is it
I
because
have
you're
a line
familiar with that side of familiar with being the perp? Do you have some institutional knowledge there?
No, I'm the lawyer, Fred. I mean, look at me. I look like I'm the lawyer. This is what my type is always the lawyer. The guy goes in and he says, "My client is willing to cooperate." That's always the first line. Then you sit there while the Mariska Hargitay and the criminal go at it for like 15 lines, and you just nod your head, and at the end you say, "We're all done here. We'll be in touch." That's right, every time.
Now
That's
you have
what I
to.
audition
Do
for.
they film that in New York or L.A.?
Oh, they do that. All those in New York. Yeah, all those Law and Orders are in New York.
You do have a lawyerly look about you, Gary, but I would cast you more in the insurance company lawyer on one side of the table trying to offer an unfair settlement to the client. One of the guys sitting next to John Voight in The Rainmaker. You're one of those
I get
guys.
that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hardy. I mean, I'll take anything.
I see you
I'm
as
also-
almost like a courtroom lawyer from
Cowboy.
No, a cowboy lawyer, right?
Yeah.
No, a courtroom lawyer from the Mockingbird.
Like an Atticus Finch.
like an Atticus Finch.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were
Yeah,
auditioning
Gregory-
for the role of Atticus Finch, Gary, how would you handle?
Oh yeah,
Gregory-
give us a little To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh God, I haven't done that monologue in
Improvise,
years.
baby. Don't monologue.
I had it memorized at one point. The great Gregory Peck. Mayella Ewell was attacked by a man who led exclusively with his left. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Tom Robertson cannot use his left hand, led almost exclusively with his right. Mayella Ewell was assaulted by a man who led almost exclusively with his left. That's all I remember.
Can someone give me a
really
tissue?
good. That's really good.
I have to clean my stomach and my eyes.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But I've done that monologue, yeah.
Okay.
I'm in a play. You guys got to come to my play.
Yes. Okay. So the last time we talked to you, you were at the Wilbur Theater.
Yes, March 26th.
Okay, and this is you're playing several roles, right?
Playing a couple roles, yeah. Ames Roby being one.
And it wasn't like Lincoln the other guy?
No. no. It wasn't Lincoln. This is a sign of my age.
Can't remember.
It's not the other guy. Hang on. Ames Roby was a lawyer. Oh, Norman Mailer. Norman Mailer, the author.
I see more of a Truman Capote type.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like I could pull that off.
Can you do Truman Capote? Could you try to do it for
No,
us?
I can't.
Yes,
Not even close.
Gary.
I wouldn't even try it.
I'll tell you why.
Give me a little Dill Baker Harris from To Kill a Mockingbird now. Just a young Truman Capote. Go ahead. He's talking to Scout and Jen.
I'm not even going to embarrass myself.
My stars is hot out here today.
I can't.
All right. So
I'm straight down the middle.
Okay. What play are you in now? Is this the one you just mentioned, or is this a new one?
It's the one. Yeah, it's called The Nightmare, and it's Casey Sherman. It's a combination of his 3 books. One is about the one where I play Norman Mailer is about the serial killer on Cape Cod. It's a great book.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Now you know Casey Sherman also because he's been on the talk show before, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd have you guys on, but they won't let you come on. I mean,
yeah, that's
I can't. You let me come on your station, but you can't come on mine.
Yeah. Well, listen, they're very territorial over there. Who are worse people, the political talk callers or the sports talk callers?
Contest. Good.
You know, I got to say, it's the political.
Oh yeah.
It's the political, hands down. It's because when I do talk politics, when I sit there and I say, okay, I really don't want to take any calls. That's kind of, which is crazy because Dan takes calls. I don't really want to take calls. I just want to interview friends, people I like, and topics I'm interested in. And but when you talk to somebody about politics, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination.
No one's claiming that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You can't convince anybody. I mean, nobody. If you watch Fox News, there's no way I'm going to change your mind. Everybody's deny. Have you guys watched the Trump movie, The Apprentice?
No.
You got to. Fred, that's your assignment. Because if you watch the Trump movie, The Apprentice, in which, I mean, those guys who won Academy Awards, it tells you everything you need to know how Trump does it. Deny. And he's just beating people over the head with it so they believe it. You can't have a political discussion now.
No. I'll tell you what political discussions devolve to is that you'll go, this is at least how it happens with my father, is that if which I've given up on. I haven't talked. He follows it. I don't follow it. But you insert a politician. You go, well, a politician's doing that. And then the person that you say that to will go, well, B did this. And then that's the conversation.
The whataboutism.
Yeah, like, well, what about this? And like, all right, okay.
What about Hillary?
Or what about what about Hillary or what about Trump? I mean, either way that it goes.
Yeah.
They'll go, what about this or what about that? And then then I'm out of my depth immediately. Because now I'm like, now I got to know two things. Because I'm very comfortable with this one little piece of information, and now you're asking me to go and grab an entirely other piece of information, and now you've won because I have no idea what you're talking about. So now it's time for me to tap out.
Even if you did know what you were talking about, you're still not going to win. I mean, I've had people come on and talk about January 6th. I can't remember the guy's name. It's about January 6th in Washington. He said he was there, and he goes, let me tell you, it was the liberal media that blew that out of proportion. I said, excuse me? He said, I was walking through the halls. People were picking up some things, artifacts, I'll go, okay, wait a minute. The guy with the buffalo head went over the wall and went in and got a couple of tchotchkes and went home? I mean,
I don't think you're allowed to go in there and just pick up stuff either.
No, you're not. So I go, a guard died. And then the guy actually said to me, yeah, but he actually died like 24 hours later or 48 hours later. I go,
that's a good point.
That doesn't change anything.
I didn't know that fact. That does. He makes a good point.
It's the people's building, Gary.
Who knows what killed him?
I'm allowed to go in there, Gary. That belongs to the people.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, that's another thing, Hardy. So these are the colors you get where, January 6th, that was the liberal media that blew it out of proportion. I go, I don't know, man. They were running through the halls of Congress and they wanted to hang Pence, who they voted for. So you don't even have to be an expert sometimes. Sometimes you just watch the news a little bit and you get these, and you go, what are you kidding me? But it comes from both sides, Fred.
Oh, I'm aware.
Liberal calls too.
Everyone hates me. Believe me.
Yeah.
We're
MAGA.
That's I get accused of being MAGA.
Yeah.
An awful
lot. Because you just want to be reasonable.
Well, and also because I don't talk about anything, and if I say anything even remotely. Not even anything. Believe me, I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about it. I don't. That's not the part of my life I'm focused on.
I get it.
But the thing is that no matter what I do, I got some crazy hippie yelling at me about being MAGA, and then I got some crazy, Klan guy yelling at me about being a hippie, and I can't win for losing. And I'll tell you that's the case. Yes, I don't envy you doing that show.
Now.
I don't envy you doing that show. All right, well, listen, I don't want to get into America, but I do want to get into this. How's the new book?
I've turned it into a television show and sent that out as a pitch.
Ooh. Can you talk about it, or do you want to keep that private?
I can't.
I understand.
But it does involve Rocky Suarez.
Nice!
Does it really involve Rocky Suarez?
Oh, yeah. Well, let me put it this way. Yes, it does. It involves Rocky Suarez. Yes, it does.
Which actress did you have in mind?
Well,
Gary?
yeah, that's a great question. That's what I was about to ask. What actress would you have in mind, and what attributes?
Yes.
Well, I've always. I mean, it's to me, it's always been Jennifer Lopez.
Because you love huge butts.
I don't even know about that. I don't think about that. I just loved her.
The hell you don't.
No. There's a physical type that you're looking for. You're looking for like a Latino sex bot.
It's real. I know what you're saying, Fred, and I am a man. I get it. I'm a man.
Well, no, not even as a man, but the character is supposed to be very sexual, right?
I don't think she's. No, like you haven't read the whole book, correct?
No.
Okay.
That is
so
not
here's
correct.
The
I've read the whole
here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you read the whole book, there are some parts in there that are sexual, which was really promoted on your show, which is fine. But Suarez she's a tough female cop that comes from a tough background and
she makes up for that by having promiscuous sex.
She's a cop's cop.
It's not
Devil Three-Way is her favorite.
There are 2 sex scenes in the book.
Yeah, but there's 100 pages long.
What's your favorite one?
Oh, it's got to be the breakdown lane.
So she has sex in the breakdown lane.
No, Hardy read it. Why don't you tell him, Hardy, what happens in the breakdown lane?
I don't feel comfortable using
neither do I.
using your words.
Well, you don't have to use. You can describe it. We are both radio professionals, Gary. Just how can you describe it on the air? You can talk about sex. You just can't be dirty about it.
Right. Well, she's in the breakdown lane, and she's with Jerry, right? And they're trying
Callahan.
to
Cush.
No, the Cush. She's with the Cush, and he's in the passenger seat, and she's in the driver's seat. And he performs something to her liking. And if you were
does he
looking
get
at the
in
car,
by the brake in does he shove himself under the wheel, or does he do it from the passenger seat?
That's exactly.
Is he a little person?
No, he's not, but he makes it work.
Cush is a little guy, so he could get into the tight crevices. If you know what I'm saying. Could you fit under the wheel and put your face in there?
If the wheel is adjustable, you can pop it up.
Did you try it? Did you work it out before you put it in the book?
Oh yeah,
This is not for
it's research.
Not for personal experience.
It's research.
But you got to block the scenes.
Come on.
Yeah, well, in order to do that, you would have to find a partner. I don't know if that's happening.
Okay.
All right, well, look.
But yeah, that's my favorite part because it's comedic. Because as this is happening, she's enjoying it. She's getting to a certain point, and somebody's approaching the car.
Which makes it all the more exciting.
Right.
Correct. Like, what are you going to do? And you know.
And the back
so
of
the Cush
Cush's
tries
head
to
hits
get
the
up and
horn. Yeah.
Right. So, Fred, I think you should read the. It's not just a sex book. I think you should read the book.
Well, then I don't want to read it if it's not just a sex book.
Man. Well, you have to. Maybe this TV series will hit.
Okay, look, Gary, we could talk to you all day. Gary, the arm and the fall. Are you doing any more WBZ radio?
I'm not yet. I'm not on the schedule. Dan Ray is back tonight.
And you are still an Emerson professor?
I'm taking the semester off.
Yeah, it's about time. You ran out of friends to ask the host to teach it. Okay.
Oh, big time, yeah. I mean, well, you wouldn't come over. Fred Waller came over. Hardy came over. They killed it. You were too busy.
Right. No,
I enjoyed my time.
I don't want to. I can't park over there. All right, look, Gary, you're the best.
Thanks, Gary.
Good luck on the pilot. Good luck on all the auditions. Good luck in the play. We can have you on before the play. And thank you so much for coming on.
Fred, you guys are the best. Appreciate it, fellas. We'll see you.
All right, thank you. The great Gary Tangway. All right, here are the headlines.
about the snacks. It's about the commercials.
I hope it's about the snacks and commercials because that's what I want at your house. I want lots and lots of snacks, and then I want silence during the commercials so I can laugh. You can just hear my laughter over all of it.
You'll get all of that and more. What you'll probably get is some Taylor Swift. Now, I heard on our friend Ben Maller's show this morning before we were on that there are as many as 70 different Taylor Swift-related Super Bowl prop bets. Something involving Taylor Swift in one way or another. Different sites are offering different odds on different things involving Taylor, who now reportedly is worried that just by being in attendance to support her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, she might steal some of the spotlight from him.
This is the first time this has occurred to her?
And the Kansas City Chiefs. This is from Yahoo Entertainment.
Can I ask something? Do people, in all honesty, really care that if Taylor Swift is there anymore, for good or bad? Does it, like, at first, like, I understand you were annoyed or you were excited. Like, is that, it's happened now, 12 times.
I would say people are more excited and looking forward to, say, if this were in an open-air stadium, the flyover, which is another thing that you would expect and have seen before, and would have more to say and be on the lookout for that than they are Taylor Swift. It's so pedestrian at this point that she's going to be at the game, and they're going to do a shot of her in a luxury box. And what do we care?
It's not even
that matter anymore.
It's not a salacious relationship even. It's just like boring.
And like the spectacle of it is now not a big deal. Once you see Evel Knievel jump over a few buses, okay, I've seen that.
And just to further that real quick, and there's nothing that's interesting that's happened between the two of them, right? Like,
no.
If there were like fighting and or like there was rumors she was pregnant, that's tabloidy stuff that would be interesting, or that she was seen out with another guy, or he was seen out with another girl. Like, then that adds a little spice to the whole thing. Then you got like a Benifer situation happening, which had me riveted for years.
Sure. Which time?
Tell me about it. But but nothing's going on. They just seem to be dating, and it's boring, like any other dating. Okay, go ahead.
Well, according to The Sun, Taylor doesn't want to be the center of attention. She just wants to support Travis and help him focus on the game, and that Travis is very appreciative of her support. This is a really good article. I'm glad that both Yahoo and The Sun decided to publish this one. Let us instead focus in on Travis Kelce, who says, and I happen to agree with him, it'll be a great honor to have the president at the Super Bowl. Now, regardless of your feelings about the current president, no sitting president has ever attended the Super Bowl.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
And that's what he said. No matter who the president is, I know I'm excited because it's the biggest game of my life, having the president there. It's the best country in the world, Fred. You want to say something about Travis Kelce now? He said, and that's pretty cool.
He's got a... All right. What's his email address?
Yeah.
Because he's going to hear it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, next thing you know, I'm going to say, you damn right.
Next thing you know, he's going to be crying during the national anthem or something. Get everyone off.
Make a little love.
Oh, boy.
Just do a little dance.
I can't wait if they win.
Did you hear how he talked at the media event? Like, he doesn't talk like that.
I know.
You kidding me?
Yeah, I know.
Kansas City!
He's completely normal. He sounds like a normal human being during NFL's opening night on Monday, and he goes from that to this. It's amazing.
You know what would have been funny? This actually would have been funny, kind of, if someone brought a boombox or a Bluetooth speaker and played him talking, and then said, "Why aren't you talking like this now? Like, how do you decide when you're going to talk like this?"
Don't nobody know we represent and honor every single veteran that went to war for us in World War I.
We obviously love this country, although it's surviving World War I veterans.
Not a lot of them left.
Well, you'd have to be 18 in the 10s, the 1910s.
Yeah,
all of them are pretty much dead by now.
Well, you think that people are living to be 130?
I can do the math. Their numbers must have dwindled to the thousands by now. I mean, there's not that many left.
Tens of thousands, maybe.
Okay.
That might have been funny if you were like, hey, Chris Jones called you Malibu's Most Wanted, and listen to this, and then you played like him talking. That'd be pretty embarrassing to hear. And you're like, he called you. Remember when he did that? You go, hey, remember when he called you Malibu's Most Wanted? Yeah. Okay, here's what he's talking about, and then you play it, and then you go, well, why you talk like that? Like you're not talking like that now. That would be that'd be uncomfortable. See, that I would enjoy that. That would be funny to me.
What? You should have been there.
No, no, it's not worth that.
We should have been there, Fred, all of us.
That would have been funny. I mean, something like that's truly embarrassing, not something obvious. All right. Well, look.
Finally, Motel 6 downtown New Orleans, as all hotels will raise their rates for the Super Bowl. Motel 6 downtown area charging $505 to stay in a standard room on February 8th. $500 for a hotel room night before of the Super Bowl, not bad. Would you care to guess what the number drops to on Monday the 10th?
$69.
Yeah, $90.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say 80. Like, yeah.
It's $71 in summer months.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the Super Bowl, Motel 6, but the Motel 6 in New Orleans might be pretty gnarly, but like you're in that bed for what? 3 hours. Like you don't need much.
I'd stay at a Motel 6 in downtown. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Those can be pretty sketchy, though.
I stayed in a not an Embassy Suites. It was America Stay or America something when I first moved to Las Vegas because I didn't have an apartment yet. And for 3 weeks, I stayed in a weekly, monthly rental place. Now that is sketchy.
But they have them for professional people. Like there's some in Waltham by the business buildings that aren't bad.
Yeah, Extended Stay America maybe was the name of it. It was on Koval, which is runs parallel to the Strip. Holy crap.
Well, I'll tell you this, is the girl I took to the U2 concert where we sat at the soundboard with Michael Stipe, who I took home and we didn't even kiss, was staying in an extended stay hotel because she was in for business. Uncle Diesel.
You kidding me?
I'm not. Uncle Diesel.
Oh, thank God.
He's back, and he's got songs. We'll hear him.
You're listening to Toucher and
to people. I just can't figure it out, really. You guys have hit the rock topic early because he's listening first thing in the morning, which the more of your audience doesn't care about because we weren't alive. So here's the deal. Black Sabbath have one show left. Ozzy Osbourne has got one show he wants to do. It's a big festival. Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, like these bands. And then it's Black Sabbath headlining with the original lineup, they hope, and Ozzy Osbourne doing a solo set. So most people weren't alive during that. I wasn't alive during that. What the hell is wrong with your ignorant ass? So if anything happened when you weren't a fully functioning teenager, it is of no consequence? You don't know who Ozzy Osbourne is? You idiot. You're a fool. What an ignorant way to go through life. You know what else I wasn't alive for? Vietnam. But I'm aware it happened. World War II. I'm aware it happened. Boy, are you an idiot. Most people weren't alive. So now this is such an obscure reference that you can't handle it. You've never heard of Ozzy Osbourne. You've never heard of Black Sabbath. Never, ever, ever, ever. This is like a brand new thing. This notion, and I've heard it before, like if I wasn't alive when it happened, like I have no knowledge of it whatsoever. So every book, no matter how great it is of no consequence to you unless you were alive for it. So if you were born in 1990, any movie that came out in the 80s is just a pure disaster. If you were born in 1991, Goodfellas is just garbage. There's no reason to watch it. I've never heard of it. Who's this Martin Scorsese? I know Wolf of Wall Street, and I enjoyed that. But why would I go back and watch something that happened before I was born? It's the zeitgeist, you moron. There's things that float in the air. Have you heard of Shakespeare, stupid? Your grandparents weren't alive when he was around. The Revolutionary War, you moron. Oh, my God. This idea that it like entertainment or art, anything that was done before you were alive. Do you like rap music? It was invented before you were alive. The first DJ Kool Herc, was doing it before I was alive. Ah, morons. What a way to go through life, you stupid effing idiot. To walk around like anything that happened. Like, I can't, you know who I can't watch? I can't watch, oh, Jesus, Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison died before I was born. And now I can't ever. And when Joe Rogan references Kinison and Mark Maron referencing Kinison, all these guys like Joe Rogan that you filleted every day, when he goes, Kinison was the greatest, why even bother? Why even bother mentioning him? Because it happened. You know, Eddie Murphy, he came back to Saturday Night Live. They had the record audience for Saturday Night Live. But why bother? He left the cast when I was 8. I mean, why even bother watching Saturday Night Live? Who's Eddie Murphy? I don't know who it is. Oh, you fool. What a big dummy. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night started the year I was born. And I was obsessed with John Belushi and stuff. And I became aware of all of that after he was dead. Oh.
Kennison just popped up on my algorithm last night.
Well, because you're very old. I mean, obviously they know you were alive during his run.
Killer routine. Killer routine talking about food in third world nations.
What percentage of the music that you listen to on a regular basis was created when you were young or too young to enjoy it when it came out? Mine's at least 60%.
Mine's higher.
Yeah,
mine's higher.
And you're old.
Yes, mine is higher.
Yeah, it's at least half.
Like this idea of like, oh, you're so out of touch. You're talking about something. By the way, these tickets for this Sabbath thing are going to go. First of all, the age discrepancy in that crowd is going to be huge. If you don't think TikTokers are going to be at that stupid thing, I'll tell you what. Those tickets are going to be out of control. The idea that you have no idea who Ozzy Osbourne is preposterous. Black Sabbath formed well before I was born, and he left the band. They were no good anymore, and he left the band when I was 4. Get out of here with that. And his first solo album came out when I was 6. Stupid.
Well, it is. I kind of agree with the guy. It's like if it were like such an important thing to remember and pay attention to music of the past, then Timothée Chalamet would be out there doing a movie about Bob Dylan. But you don't see that. Oh, wait.
That's right.
Oh, and it's all set from before I was born, but yet I went to the theater and saw it. So, like, it's a big thing.
Okay, that's a bad example.
Let
me think of another one.
Yeah, think of a movie. How about the movie that just came out about the Berlin Olympics where they kidnapped the people? That happened before I was.
Who cares? Talk about the next Olympics.
What year did that happen?
1972.
Yeah, I wasn't alive, and I went and saw that, and I was aware of it. And I actually had heard of Rune Aldridge. I had heard of these names because I'm a person. Like I've heard of. Jesus Christ! What if they're not in your neighborhood? You don't know them either. Oh, well, you were talking about something, but that didn't happen around here. That happened 600 miles away. I can't listen to that. What a fool. What an ignorant piece of garbage. Did you not go to school, stupid? They didn't have you consume anything in school that was written or produced before you were born. You've never been to a museum. Every movie has to be. Say you were born in 2000, so you never saw Clueless. It would be too much for you. The great Clueless. It would be so over your. What the hell's going on here? A popular girl taking a non-popular girl and making her popular. I can't figure it out. Mean Girls meant nothing to me till the reboot, and then I was all in on it.
Why do you think this person goes immediately to my junk folder? It's
not.
Nonsense.
But it's. If it was just this person, it would be another thing. But there's this like thing that if that happened before I was born. Yeah. It's such an entitled, narcissistic way to think too. You're literally saying the world didn't exist until I was born. Like until I was born, the world didn't exist. Anything that happened before the world didn't matter. Until my greatness inhabited it. What are you doing for the world? How are people going to remember you? No one knows who you are now while you're living. Boy, is that dumb. And if that's the way the world's going to be, that's going to be the death of society. That this notion that anything that happened before your beautiful being was your insignificant, dumb life in this vast universe that don't even know anything about. That you are the true center of it all. Ugh, I don't like that. That's a scary notion. I wasn't alive. How did anything happen? I wasn't alive. Well, your parents were. Your dad's semen was.
What?
That's a thought right there.
Before he was alive, his dad's testicles were producing the semen that produced him.
Yeah, stupid. What's wrong with you? That was clear.
The Patriots were never in the Super Bowl before you were born. There was no Super Bowl. The Super Bowl started right when you started paying attention to them. Why even bother? Who's this Jerry Rice character? Who's this Joe Montana character?
Mm-hmm. Jerry Rice was Secretary of State. Everybody knows
that. Were my kids alive?
Condoleezza.
Oh.
Condoleezza Rice.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. Uncle Diesel's got to do something.
That was just brilliant. Smooth.
Uncle Diesel, he has videos where he hires models to dance with him.
Oh, yeah. The Antonio Cromartie song is worth it.
Yep. All right. And so Uncle Diesel's got a new jam. We vetted him. He seems to be the non-criminal out of all the people that do parody songs. So we vetted him, and he seems to be okay. So here is Uncle Diesel's new jam.
Right.
Oh, that was God telling me to do that.
It was good.
It all worked out.
Because even though this song came out before I was alive, I'm aware of what it is.
I am Sway Man.
What's he referring to? What is Swayman? I know because I was
it's a
alive.
double reference. It's Iron Man and then Sway Man.
Iron Man, I don't know.
Okay, it's a cartoon character and it's also a song. And Sway Man is somebody who just swishes when they walk. So that's.
I only know Sway from Shade 45.
Okay.
Could be that. I don't know for sure.
He's got the kids freestyling. But I don't pay attention to anyone who freestyled before I was born. You know it's a good parody song where the intro's nice and long. And they don't bother to get to the lyrics. You wait for them. You wait for the jet joke. I'll get there to it when I'm ready.
The actual intro of the parody is longer than the intro to the original. I think there's only 2 guitar strums in the original. But go ahead.
I don't think this is Tony Iommi.
Bees fans, don't you fret. Sway Man is in the net. Shut out is on his mind. Stealing candy from the blind.
Did he come out of a coma before the last game, or right before the last game? So now he's thinking Swayman's been on fire. This is not the time for a Bruins hype song.
Yeah, 2 good games in the last.
Looking at it the other way, you got to capitalize on it when he's good.
That's true. You got to strike when the iron's hot.
Okay.
With the attention span of people these days.
Deny the 5-hole. Tonight he gives up no goals. He loves Brad Marchand. Hugs him whenever he can. Ain't no licking. Anchorage was his home. Made hockey skates from mammoth bones. Played for U of Maine, where he learned to bring the pain. All the teams hate him.
They really do. They hate him. He's a big pest. And I like that he read his Wikipedia.
He just keeps blocking shots to win the Stanley.
What?
He'll give it all that he's got. These fans, don't you fret. Sway Man is in the net. Shut out on his mind. Stealing candy from the blind.
Did you edit that?
No.
Some of those things like pushed together a little bit. Okay.
little bit.
All right. Yeah.
Is he stealing candy from the blind?
I don't think it's meant to be taken literally. God, I hope not.
Well, then how would that be? What's the metaphor? I don't get it. Stealing candy from the blind is a term people use that it's something was super easy.
Yes, something.
But isn't it usually stealing candy from children? I think that's the idiom.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Stealing candy from blind children would be better and more admirable, I think, because
it's either really
if they eat a lot of candy, they'll get fat because they're sedentary.
Oh.
All right. Well, there you go. That's all. Do I need to play any more?
No.
Okay, you're good. You're fine.
Thank you.
We can break. Dave Richard is waiting.
All right,
We're
very
excited.
good. Our friend Dave Richard, who is was in Mobile for all that and is a big NFL expert, will be joining us in just a moment.
You're listening. Music in the Morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
He's on YouTube, Fantasy Football Today. He's on the CBS Sports Network. He's kind enough to join us before the Super Bowl. Dave, hello.
Fred, this Friday at 2 o'clock, I'm on CBS Sports Network giving out player props for an hour. 60 minutes of player props to help everybody get a few extra dollars in their pocket.
Wow.
From the Super Bowl on CBS Sports Network, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so that's interesting. That's fun. In getting to like someone who's going to be involved in a lot of props, do you think the Saquon Barkley free agent signing is – people are now calling it the best free agent signing of all time, and like the Giants made this incredible judgmental error. Do you think it would have been wise – do you think Saquon Barkley would have made the Giants that much better?
No, because the Giants – as a franchise isn't as adept as the Eagles were. And also just his teammates, the surrounding players are better in Philadelphia. The scheme is better in Philadelphia. You know, you're only as good as your teammates are. It's very rare when one player can change everything for a team. And I like to think of it this way. I've got some buddies who are big Chicago Bears fans, and they constantly are upset because the Bears chose Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes in the 2017, 2018 NFL draft. And I tell them all the time, I said, Patrick Mahomes is probably not Patrick Mahomes if he's in Chicago being coached up by Matt Nagy. And you kind of saw it this year, even in Chicago with Caleb Williams going there. Yeah, it didn't work out so well for him, but it worked out great for Jaden Daniels. Was Jaden Daniels going to go to Chicago and lead the Bears to the playoffs, to the NFC title game? I don't think so. So really, it's all about who you play with and who the best team is. That's why football is the best team sport, Fred. And so it's why Saquon would have been. Look, he had some great years in New York. He had a phenomenal offensive line this year, and it's a great offense this year, and he's benefited from it. And he's a good player when he stays healthy, and that's exactly what's happened.
Well, Dave, that was just first of all, Jaden Daniels was not going to do that in Chicago because they wouldn't have gotten out of the division because of the Lions. But I understand your point.
But the thing is that we've talked about this with many people, and it is fascinating. I mean, you even look at Tom Brady. If Tom Brady's in any other coach, does he have the balls to sit the former number 1 overall pick that they've given all this money to and make him the starter? You know, do they keep 4 quarterbacks to keep Brady on the roster? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And, you know, it's so often that we will go, oh, well, you know, this GM effed up, like, you know, but, you know, and they took this quarterback. And that sometimes weird picks happen, but generally when these quarterbacks are taken high in drafts, there's a large consensus of people that believe that player is talented. So it is interesting, like how many of these guys that have failed would have succeeded in other places, because there's no way that with the hit rate on quarterbacks that every quarterback that's not succeeded is just inherently terrible. Agreed. And that every quarterback that has succeeded, you know, short of like, you know, Elway and Manning and stuff, like are just they would have succeeded anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
it is an interesting exercise. You know, it's like people forget that nowadays there's 1,000 voices speculating on every prospect coming out in the draft, and you know who was the last like super reach at quarterback? Tannehill was considered like a weird pick.
Yes, because he didn't have a lot of quarterback experience at Texas Tech. He was a wide receiver that had turned into a quarterback. Was it Texas Tech? Whatever, one of the Texas schools.
Well, people had like Kenny Pickett going in the top of the first round. Like people, you know, there's not a lot. It's not one sole voice. It's not one renegade. It's not like an Al Davis thing where he takes a sprinter from the U.S. Olympic team that never played football in the first round, or a punter.
But
that punter is in Ray Guy, so you can't front on that. Yeah. All right. So speaking of Saquon Barkley and these things, I don't want you to blow. Well, you're not going to do an hour of them here, but you are familiar as a fantasy football player, and it does make sense. A professional fantasy football guy, it does make sense. you would be the guy to go to for player props. Just give us a macro idea of the weaknesses of the teams. We know the strengths, the weaknesses of these individual teams and how they could be exploited.
Well, the very first weakness to bring up is Kansas City's run defense. And I'm looking for it right now. I definitely have it. Their past 4 games, if we take out Week 18, they're giving up 5 yards per carry, a 13.1% rate of gains of 10-plus yards, 3 touchdowns. That's over 4 games. The numbers get even uglier. Listen to this. They've given up 100 total yards to a running back in each of their past 3 games, and they're getting gashed on off-tackle and edge runs, 5.5 yards per carry in their past 4, again, excluding Week 18. The starters didn't play in Week 18. 7.1 yards per carry to Houston, 6.0 yards per carry to Buffalo. Saquon Barkley on off-tackle and edge runs this year, he's had 160 of them, is averaging 6.3 yards per carry. 1 out of every 10 is good for at least 12 yards. I think that's where Philadelphia is going to go. And I think that Kansas City is going to have a tough time slowing him down. So one of the first props I looked at was Saquon's rushing yards. It's a high number. It's 113.5 yards. Last week, it was 10 yards higher.
Yeah.
And it went under. And so I think they're just trying to middle it while still giving people at least the intrigue of taking it, because it's hard to expect 115-plus rushing yards from Saquon Barkley. But I think he can get it, and I think that's what Philadelphia is going to do, is they're going to see this recent weakness in the Chiefs' defense. And it's with their defense healthy. And they're still struggling to stop the run. If Buffalo had stuck with the run, they might have been playing. They probably would have been playing in the Super Bowl. But they didn't do that, and I think that that's what ended up costing them. Philadelphia, I don't think will make that mistake unless they're down big in the second half, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, so one of the props, as long as we're talking about Saquon here, is the 25 yards or more per quarter. And obviously, average-wise, it works out. It seems ridiculous, Dave, but based on what you've seen and how other teams have played him, is that likely to happen, or does he tend to have a quarter or two where teams figure things out and they go a different way with the offense?
So obviously, the first question I have to ask is what's the juice? Am I getting odds on this, or do I have to lay money in order to take the over on all 4 quarters?
It's one of obviously it's just one of the specials on FanDuel right now, so you can just have some fun with it. And I think it's more about the ridiculousness of it, and the question is, how ridiculous is it?
I don't think it's terribly ridiculous, because I think this is where if Philadelphia plays with the lead, or if it's a close game, Saquon's going to get the ball a lot. And so the idea of him getting over 25 yards or 25 plus yards in each quarter doesn't sound crazy. What I would worry about is, number one, what happens in the fourth quarter if the Chiefs are up, 23-10, then is Saquon going to get pulled from the game plan, or is he going to be used more as a pass catch or something like that? And number two, what's going to happen if Kansas City goes on one of these 9-10 minute drives that ends with a touchdown? And I think that Kansas City will have at least one of those drives in the game because of the way Philadelphia tends to play defense. It's a lot of zone coverage. And I think that's what Philadelphia should do. They should dare the Chiefs to run the football, because Kareem Hunt isn't scaring anybody. Isaiah Pacheco hasn't been right since he got hurt in week 2. So I think that there's really an opportunity for Philadelphia to say, all right, listen, we're going to play our safeties back. We're going to make it. We're really going to try and deter Kansas City from throwing downfield. It'll mean a lot of short throws to Kelsey. It'll mean a lot of short throws to the other tight end, Noah Gray. And it might mean a lot of rushing for both of their running backs. And it could mean long drives for the Chiefs. And if something like that happens, that would obviously impact Saquon's ability to get 25 yards on the ground in a quarter.
I'm just wondering, really strange props, but you brought up a long drive. There's actually a prop bet here on BetMGM. How long will the first scoring drive be? So I'm wondering, in your opinion, how long will the first scoring drive of the game be? Because Kansas City and Philadelphia can throw the ball deep, but they're not known as being a quick strike offense either.
And if this game goes like I think it will, that means the Eagles are going to lean on Saquon, and that means that long drives, unless Saquon breaks one for 50 yards, which is entirely possible, and Kansas City long drive because they're going to run the ball a lot or be compelled to run the ball a lot. I don't know if that's necessarily what they want to do. But I would. Is this like an over on a number, or can you just bet like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Yeah, no, it's a number of plays. Like for instance, 1 to 2 plays is
Okay.
plus 900, 9 to 10 plays is plus 350.
Right. So I would probably like look in that ballpark of 7 to 8 plays and see what that is. It's probably not crazy juice, but maybe do that one and then 9 to 10 plays right after that.
Yeah,
one.
that
Maybe
actually,
both of
yeah,
those.
the 7 to 8 is plus 300. So
Okay, and
there
then
you
so
have it.
what's 9 to 10?
9 to 10 is plus
Nah,
350.
9 to 10 is too high. Forget about that.
Yeah.
What's 5 to 6?
Plus 400.
Okay, so I would do, a tenth of a unit on 5 to 6 and a tenth of a unit on 7 to 8, and that would be where I would go, expecting it to be a slow moving drive, kind of like what we saw from the Commanders last week on their first drive.
Yep.
Dave, what's a good number for my annual will there be an overtime yes bet? I bet it every single year. I'm pretty happy with the odds I got
You
this
hit it
year.
last year.
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I've hit it twice, and those 2 times have paid for the last 20-plus years I've been doing it.
Right. Yeah, those are usually like plus anywhere from like plus 1,200 to plus 2,000, right?
Yeah, there have been years when it's been as low as 7 and 8. I got it at plus 300 or plus 1,300.
Okay, that's fine. And I think it's reasonable to expect that to happen again here because both teams can I honestly I kind of look at the game and I'm nervous that the defenses might be too good. So it might not be like this high scoring shootout. It won't be 38-35 like it was the last time these teams played. But it was pretty close to being an overtime game 2 years ago when these teams played. And so it wouldn't surprise me if there was overtime. I think 1,300 is fair, if not a little bit too overweight, which is why I would consider taking it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, just by virtue of the fact that it's a 1.5-point game, which doesn't always mean much, especially for the Super Bowl, because there's so many people betting it that the odds and the line shifts. But I do think these teams are kind of evenly matched in terms of the number of points they can put up against each other. So sure, why not in overtime?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put my mortgage payment on it.
Well, that's you.
Whoops. Okay.
Jeez.
All right. No, I can cash out.
Hey,
It's
Dave.
All right. So, Dave, just if you could, what's your favorite, if you have one or one of your favorites, prop bets, so we can all put all our money on it?
Yeah, one that I'm definitely going to take is over 5.5 rush attempts for Patrick Mahomes, because not only do I think that the Eagles are going to play zone coverage, I think that they will get pressure on Mahomes, and something like a third of his carries this season that aren't kneel downs have been against zone coverage when he's been pressured. So if that's going to be the case, I think he will take off. That'll include kneel downs. So if he takes a knee at the half and then he takes another knee at the end of the game, for example, that's 2 attempts. He could easily get 4, 5, 6 more after that. I think a lot of it is going to fall on Mahomes' shoulders, especially if it's a close game. And Mahomes is going to have to do a lot, and we've seen him go all out in the playoffs already. I could see him doing it again and getting over 5.5 rush attempts.
All right. Well, there you go. Dave Richard, how do people watch your prop bet spectacular?
They watch it with their eyes. It'll be live on CBS Sports Network this Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Set a reminder now. Get it on your DVR. And, yes, you get CBS Sports Network. Everybody gets CBS Sports Network, and no one knows that they have CBS Sports Network. But it's in your cable package or your OTT, however you get your TV. It's there, and it'll be on YouTube after the fact, too. So even if you miss it, you can go to YouTube, search for Sportsline Early Edge, and the Player Prop Show will be there. And I'll post a link on Twitter at Dave Richard once the show's over.
All right. Well, that sounds like something that I am interested in. And I'll tell you, if you love NAIA basketball, CBS Sports Network is the place to go. All right. Dave Richard, thank you so much for the time, sir. We love you.
You got it, guys. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Thanks,
All right,
Dave.
appreciate it, Dave. There you go. The great Dave Richard. When we come back, Felger and Maz had Malcolm Butler on yesterday, and some interesting things came out of it. It's always fun to hear those guys talk to someone like Malcolm Butler. This isn't a combative one. This is actually, which I love when they get in combative ones. This is, and we're not making fun of them. This is a good interview. We'll do that in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
New York Rangers got a pair of goals in the
2 yards and in, it's Jalen Hurts every time. And so, they're not going to pull a Seattle. They're not going to, make a dumb pass play, which gets, I didn't even mean this, which gets us to this. Malcolm Butler.
Oh, yes, very good. I'm with Felger and Maz yesterday as they were in New Orleans on Radio Row. Malcolm Butler sat down with me and Bertrand and Zolak a couple of years ago and had a very similar conversation.
Interestingly dressed yesterday.
Yeah, when I saw it, it reminded me of what he was wearing either the time we talked to him or I've seen him dressed in a similar outfit before. But credit to Felger and Maz, they were not afraid to get specific with some of the questions. And I think it was a really good conversation. It was a good segment, so we got a portion of it here.
Which is interesting because I think maybe even yesterday we were talking about Bill Belichick's got a book coming out, and if it doesn't mention Malcolm Butler, it's worthless. And why he was sad.
It will not, and it will be.
Yeah.
They will not mention it.
It will be
Malcolm
worthless.
Butler, and it will be worthless.
So many people in this listening audience are going to buy it, and then it's just going to sit there. You're going to get 2 pages in and just be like, why? Because it's going to be like his theories.
The art of winning is that winning is an art, and then you must win to be artful.
It's like these ways to be these ways to make yourself miserable is what it should be called. All right, here we go. Here is Felger Maz with Malcolm Butler.
Why didn't you play?
It was just a coach's decision.
So, how often do you get asked that?
I'm 1, 2, 3, 3 times a day.
Isn't that like the first thing they ask?
Yeah, no. They tell me about the catch, and then they ask that, and then I tell them the same thing I just told y'all.
Do people ask you more about the interception or more about the Eagles game?
The interception.
They do?
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard the theories. I'm sure you've heard the rumors and, like, stories of this and stories of that. You ever feel like coming out on record and saying, that one isn't true? That's not what happened.
So tell me what you thought that happened or what you heard.
You got in a wrestling match with Steve Belichick.
Wrestling match? That ain't even a match. You got one?
Well, that was one of them. Some of them had to do with there were parties that week leading up to the game, and there was a picture of you at one of the parties or something, and Bill got annoyed about that.
Again, related to Steve.
Yeah.
No, I think a ring.
What are they referring to? He did something with someone Steve likes or something like that.
At a party, pictures of Malcolm Butler at a party that was attended by, I think, some coaches' wives and some other people that he was hanging out at, and that they didn't like that. They didn't like that he was out at a party. They didn't like that.
Was he like the rumors he was canoodling? This is just a rumor.
Yeah, and like nothing really nefarious or scandalous, but just out socializing.
Well, it would have to be pretty nefarious if they were going to bench him for the Super Bowl. They would. The implication. Yeah. I think I might have even heard this. It is most likely not true. But I remember. The implication is that he slept with Steve Belichick's wife.
Okay, I didn't hear it went that far, but maybe some like flirtatious behavior.
Still, I mean, how do you quantify that? Like, that's not something that can be quantified. Like you were at a party and he was being flirtatious, unless he said something like propositioned her or something. And then still, I wouldn't bench him for the Super Bowl. Like, you'd have to do a lot. Like, you'd have to.
Yeah, you could cut him after the season if you're really pissed, but you got to play to win here.
Well, I mean, if he banged your son's wife, I mean, I could see benching him. But if he was, like, flirting with your son's wife, I could see being like, well, I don't want to deal with this guy again. But, again, these are just the rumors in the air. I haven't heard that from anyone or read it anywhere. Those are just the rumors in the air that they're probably referring to.
No, I think a ring is more important than a party. I can do that for the rest of my life. Actually, I did it last night. I ain't seen none of them photos. But, like, we are a grown man. We do got a time to be at work and then a time to not to be messing off. So, yeah, you can try another one.
When did you find out? Do you remember? During the week or before the game? When did you find out?
Somebody, you got Universal North Carolina number? Because y'all most definitely call him. Call and ask him.
He seems to be getting
even
closer.
now. What's the harm of telling everyone when he found out? Even now, he won't do it.
So when people are saying things and speculating about you publicly and it's not true, it is so hard not. And this is at such a bigger level than anything I've ever experienced by millions. But like if something's written about you and you're like, well, that's just not true.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, and like your first instinct is just to do it. But maybe as time passes, it doesn't matter as much.
Exactly.
I do wonder why he won't say it. Well, he's not going to say it in Felger and Maz if he's going to say it, right? Like, I love the way they asked it, and I love the way he handled it. Like, you ask me specific things, and then I mean, he didn't deny being at a party.
He did. No, he said, and that was, to me, kind of interesting, where he said, I can go to a party whenever I want. A ring is more important. Now,
but then
I'm
he
a
said,
grown man, and I can go out when I want to.
There's a time to work and there's a time to play. Yeah.
But they're allowed to go out during Super Bowl week.
Up until like Thursday or Friday, yeah.
Sure. And Thursday or Friday. You know the story of the night before the Super Bowl that player from Oakland.
Eugene Robinson, right?
No. That was a hooker
Atlanta
thing.
safety?
No. This is a more innocent story. Dr. Z's out in New Orleans, and the big, tall, bearded guy that was in movies.
Alzado.
No.
Matuzak
was out, and Dr. Z spent like 2 hours with him at this bar the night before the Super Bowl. Raiders win. Dr. Z goes into the locker room. He goes into Matuzak, and he's like, oh, man, I'm surprised you played that well after last night. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, dude, I was with you last night for 2 hours. He goes, what? You were? He was blacked out drunk the night before the Super Bowl. But that was the Oakland Raiders. That was how the Oakland Raiders operated.
Real quick, as I remember it, Malcolm Butler was sick and flew down after the team. It was like a day later. And the rumor was at the time, he didn't look good in practice.
Right.
And so Belichick made that decision, okay, he wasn't going to play.
And then after you're getting torched and it's halftime, and there are reports that players actually said, like, can we get him in there? We're getting killed. And I would argue it did cost you the Super Bowl. You needed one stop.
It's certainly
one stop.
Yeah, it's certainly something that you could, that you could just try. I mean, he played a couple plays. Well, he was on a special teams play.
I think it was one play.
Okay, so he played on the special teams for one play. Like, he played in the game. And you know Bill in special teams during the Super Bowl, he's not going to play someone who was sick that he wasn't going to play because they were physically unable to play. I mean, he put Gronkowski out there to break his arm on an extra point.
Part of the argument was, okay, he didn't look good because he was sick, but the other part of it was he was screwing off during drills and things like that. That was the rumor at the time.
But why would he pick Super Bowl week to start screwing off during drills?
Know.
All right, real quick, James, go ahead.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, what's up, James?
Hey, I was just, it came to me while you guys were talking that it's possible that Malcolm Butler and the Patriots and Bill Belichick have a non-disclosure agreement, and it tied into that second contract because he was pretty much done with football. They brought him back even after all of this nonsense and costing them the Super Bowl. So I'm wondering if maybe a non-disclosure, and that's why he doesn't say anything, Belichick doesn't say anything, and I agree, it's never going to be in that book.
The idea is that when he got that last contract from the Patriots, it was basically to pay him off to sign the NDA.
Yep.
Is that makes sense?
I asked him about it a couple of years ago in a roundabout way. Did you feel like that maybe that was like a peace offering? They brought you back because they did you dirty in the Super Bowl, and even if you weren't going to make the team, here's some money for showing up to camp. And he's like, yeah, I think there's something to that.
But can they? I don't know if the Players Association would let you sign an NDA based on something that happened with a coach, like football related. Maybe they did it without the Players Association's knowledge. Who knows? But I don't think the Players Association would want to get in the habit of having players signing NDAs. Or teams would want to get into the habit of players signing NDAs.
The NDA sounds like a stretch. But the notion that they brought him back and gave him some money for a couple weeks of camp when they had no intention of keeping him, and he knew he probably wasn't going to make the team as a, hey, sorry about that, but are we cool? Yeah, give me $250,000 and we're cool.
Yeah, but $250,000 you get me for about 4 years, and then I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm thinking if someone offers Malcolm Butler the right amount of money, I don't know what that amount is. He'll say something.
Very good. All right, we have to break. When we come back, Steve Bulpett will be on. Everyone's talking about the NBA trade deadline. We will as well.
Kreider anyway, and he beats Korpisalo top shelf to make it 3-2 with a shorthanded goal.
That is Ryan Johnston here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Chris Kreider's goal with just over 8 minutes left handed the Rangers a 3-2 win at Madison Square Garden. David Pastrnak and Elias Lindholm scored goals 16 seconds apart in the second period, but overall, the Bruins were held to 17 shots for the night. They'll play their final game before the 2-week break on Saturday afternoon at home against Las Vegas. In basketball news, Celtics will host Dallas this evening. Grandy and Max at the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Anthony Davis questionable to make his Dallas debut. Drew Holiday questionable for the Celtics. The NBA trade deadline is at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Brad Stevens made a small move yesterday, sending Jaden Springer and a second-round draft pick to Houston for a second-round selection. There were a few big deals last night. Jimmy Butler, the biggest one. Miami shipped them to Golden State as part of a 4-team trade. The Warriors sent Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a first-round draft pick to the Heat, and Dennis Schroeder to Utah. Butler then agreed to a new 2-year, $121 million contract extension with Golden State. The Lakers got center Mark Williams from Charlotte. And last but not least, All-Star Brandon Ingram shipped from New Orleans to Toronto, and the New York Mets have re-signed first baseman Pete Alonso. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Grey Goose and Patron. Ski, sip, and score with Grey Goose and Patron. Visit 985thesportshub.com/ski, sip, score to discover winter cocktail recipes like the Grey Goose Espresso Martini and the Patron Cran Burrito, and enter to win the ultimate ski package. Must be 21 or older. Sip responsibly. I'm John Wallach on Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and
The Celtics and NBA for Heavy.com. He's been around for a long time. Steve, thank you for joining us, sir.
No worries. What's happening?
Well, what's happening is I'm finally interested in this NBA situation. I want your take now on the Doncic trade.
Well, they didn't trust him. The Mavericks didn't trust him with the Supermax contract they were going to have to give him. They figured if he, wasn't interested in being in shape and playing defense at this point in his life, that giving him, hundreds of millions of dollars wasn't going to make him more so.
Okay, do you think there's more to it than has come out? Because everyone's just slamming Dallas and just saying how stupid it is. There's conspiracy theories that I've heard of. That Luka's a Nike client and this guy's golden parachute is Nike. The GM for Dallas, his golden parachute
Rob Pelinka.
Rob Pelinka is Nike. Yeah, I've heard that. Not Rob Pelinka.
Oh, Dallas. I'm sorry, Nico.
Yeah,
Nico Harrison.
Yeah. Nico Harrison and that his golden parachute. Like all these wild theories. I don't believe any of that. But what I do believe is there might be stuff Doncic has done that we don't know about. Is that possible?
I think the stuff he's done is stuff we know about, like letting people drive past him to score layups.
Right.
Look, I think the Mavericks looked at it and said, we didn't win it last year. We don't look like we're on pace to compete with the teams in the West this year. And is that going to change if we give this guy a whole bunch of money? And I think that what they looked at is they could get Anthony Davis, who has his own issues about staying on the court. But I think it makes the Mavericks a better team now and can allow them to compete in the West now. What my people have told me down there is that they're better equipped to go after a championship now than they were with Doncic at this point, but that their window is smaller. And the question is, did they ever really have a window to actually win it with Doncic and the way it was going in that situation? So, look, Anthony Davis, people are looking at the Doncic part of this, but Anthony Davis, when you can keep him on the floor, this guy is, I was going to say bitch, but I'm not going to say that. He's a really tough player.
All right. So Why only talk to L.A.? Like, why not spread it out and see what you could have gotten on the open market?
Because, Steve, I agree with you. There's enough there to say, like, they didn't want to pay him the Supermax. Let's get something for him. All that makes sense. You know, the whole least reasonable scenario works. But are you convinced that there wasn't more out there that they didn't explore?
Yeah, that's the part that I think mesmerizes. Though, I mean, even people around the league I'm talking to, it's like I'm not sure what could have been out there for Doncic, but you would have wanted to find out. That part I don't get. Look, I don't know Nico Harrison that well. Pelinka's a guy that's been around, and I kind of see him as one of those guys who's convinced that that he knows more than everybody else in any given room. And I think they discussed this and said, hey, let's do this. And I'm not sure about what kind of directives Nico Harrison was getting from the new ownership down in Dallas. But this is what they came up with. And I'm curious about the thing you're asking as well.
Okay, so that's going on, and maybe Dallas short term. Do you have something else on this, John?
No, I was going to. Since you were moving on, I was going to.
All right. So here's the deal: is yesterday there was a 4-team trade. The big news is Jimmy Butler is going to the Golden State Warriors. What does this mean for the Warriors? The Heat? Like, does this make the Warriors? Is there any, do they have a puncher's chance now to, do something in the West? How does this all work out?
Well, that's the term I was going to use, puncher's chance, but I don't see it. You're still relying on Draymond Green and what they can put around these guys. And, first of all, the chemistry's got to work. Butler will be motivated to make that happen for now, but I don't see them holding up in a 7-game series against some of those teams out west. Curry always gives you that, like you said, puncher's chance with his shot, but I don't see their defense coming together. And you look at what's stacked against them, and it's hard to see.
Okay, so the deal reportedly came together after Kevin Durant said he had no interest in going back to Golden State. Do you believe that, Steve? And if so, why do you think Kevin Durant didn't want to go back to Golden State?
Well, it's true. That's what I mean. They were looking at something much larger, but Durant, he didn't enjoy his experience there. I'm not sure that the personalities ever really worked out to where Durant was comfortable. So that's what held it up. As far as Butler's side of it, I would look no further than the was it $111 million contract extension he agreed to as part of this deal. What I wrote a couple weeks ago about Butler and what you hear from people around the league is that with Jimmy Butler, it's about the money. It's always about the money. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's kind of blown himself up in these different cities.
I wanted to get back to Kevin Durant because we were talking about him earlier. How do you think history is going to see this guy? Because he will more than likely be one of the best 20 players who ever played this game, but there are so many other facets to him. He's the most sensitive athlete I've ever seen. And for a guy like that, who's won championships, to turn down a chance at potentially going after another one, he's a big mystery to me.
Yeah. To the point where he was doing the ghost accounts on Twitter to argue with people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think people will look at him and say, yeah, he won out in Golden State, but he had to join a wagon to do that. And they'll look at him as one of the best that's ever played the game. And there will be people on the morning shows or whatever I'm talking, the ESPN shows where they bring a bunch of people on and argue about stuff. And they'll be questioning his legacy. And at that point, I think Kevin Durant will look around and call up his banker and say, how much? Okay, I'm good.
See, it seems to me like he's just never going to be happy.
That's the thing.
Like I almost
agree with
look at
Fred.
it like a tragic figure, like that. Despite all he's accomplished, like you just said, like he didn't enjoy his time in Golden State. Well, they won a couple championships. Like he just never seems to be happy. He puts himself, he designs situations for him to make himself happy, and then he's never happy there. Like it seems like there's no scenario where he would be happy.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then when you take a step back and look at things in perspective, which I guess in sports we're not supposed to do, but it's like, Kevin Durant's not happy. Bummer, dude.
No, I understand that, but that's why it's interesting to me. Great athlete, wins a lot, makes a lot of money, happy, not interesting. Great athlete, wins a lot, makes a lot of money, cannot be happy. That's interesting to me, but that's more about the person,
Yeah, I see, but and it's like, but how much of that part of his makeup, got him to be the player he is,
Yeah.
Not being happy, not being satisfied, it's crazy. And I see your point. It's weird when we look at someone like that and say, why can't you be happy? Closer to home, had anyone looked at I know this is way different because I don't think Kevin Durant has run afoul of the law, but we everyone looked at the Aaron Hernandez thing and said, well, you couldn't be happy, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's strange.
Well, that's why it's interesting is that he seems to be, I'm not, no, you could get everything in life and not be happy. I mean, you
I
see
say
it
about
all the time.
Fred all the time.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be happy, and he's not.
Yeah, Fred should, be the happiest guy in the world.
If you go by amount of jewelry, then yes, I should be very happy. But it's only temporary when I buy these great items of wealth. All right, do you see, Steve, anything happening today of any consequence?
I would keep my eye out with Durant right now. The Suns are still, they were trying to get some stuff done, and things got put on hold when Durant became quote unquote available. So I'd look there. The Knicks, I know, are trying to get a big man. There's some stuff around the fringes, but I guess I will be surprised if something major shakes loose. But I shouldn't be.
Just real quickly, also close to home here, where are we on the timeline with the Celtics sale? Like, where are we in the process of that? It's been real quiet. I'm kind of used to these things moving a little quicker, at least getting news about things on a more regular basis.
Yeah, once you get into the billionaire kind of thing, they have I don't know, this bent about keeping their stuff a little quiet. I think you're going to see in the next few weeks them kind of winnowing down to where it's going to go. But I would be surprised if there aren't a couple of surprises when that stuff comes out as well.
John, you got something?
No, one last thing. Brad Stevens made a trade yesterday, a salary dump. Sending Springer to Houston. Is he going to do anything else today? Can he do anything else today with the roster he's got?
I think it's most likely that they try to wait out the deadline and see what happens with buyouts. But because they're a second apron team, and that's kind of a new addition to the salary cap parlance. But that's the second apron is what's messing up a lot of stuff and is dictating a lot of these trades. But I think that they're going to wait and see what happens in buyout. The Jaden Springer's salary was minuscule, but because of their situation and the multiplier and the tax, they basically saved $15 million by trading him. And, I liked him as a player. I thought he was a nice tool to have, but they never quite used him a whole lot. But, yeah, I think the Celtics are more likely to just sit this out. Unless something crazy gets put on their table, I think they sit this out and look at the buyout market for a veteran.
All right, Steve. Thanks for joining us, Steve Bulpett. Read him at all about the NBA at heavy.com. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Guys, be well.
All right, thank you. There you go, Steve Bulpett over there. We will be back with our Everyone Loves It, our email segment where we reach out to you, the listener. We will have that for you.
Stay
I want to admit something before Fred gets in here because I don't want him to chastise me.
Oh, what's that?
Steve Bullpet was on with us a few minutes ago, and he said both Fred and Steve said something about a puncher's chance.
He said punter, didn't he?
I thought it was punter my whole life.
Same.
Oh, no, it's puncher.
I will join you in that shame, Hardy. I thought the same.
What is
up until 10 minutes ago? Now Fred's back in the room.
All right, Fred, the debate is...
I'm hobbled.
Okay, so...
You'll have to excuse me for being late. If you tease, audience, if they teased me, they're teasing a crippled man.
No, we were not teasing you. Actually, Hardy was teasing himself.
Okay,
you misread it. You're not inferring.
You and Steve, you're not deducing.
Deducing.
You and Steve Bullpet mentioned the puncher's chance of Golden State winning, the Western Conference. Up until either you or he said it, I thought it was punter's chance.
Okay, so I used to think it was punter's chance. I had thought the same thing. I don't think that's uncommon. But then I said it once, and I went, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense.
And puncher's chance makes all the sense.
Makes all the sense. Like you're in a fight, and you're
if you're a puncher, you got me on the ropes.
Yeah.
Boom.
One big swing.
One punch, one big swing can knock the guy out.
That's it.
So
Curry goes bananas for about 6 weeks. Golden State has a chance.
I've had a few of these in my life. Up until I was maybe, 30, I used to say, for all intensive purposes.
Yeah. I did that. I did it a long time.
Okay, but it's intense and purposes.
Yes.
So there's another one.
Yep.
But I'm old. And I'm sure I've said punter's chance instead of puncher's chance. I've said it on the radio, I'm sure.
What you are is a lifelong learner, Hardy. You're a lifelong learner.
Well, then no, I was most of my life I sounded like an idiot when I said punter's chance.
Well, that too.
Great. All right. Emails.
We have one guy who's still upset at Travis Kelce. A long email about World War I, and the last World War I vet that passed away was a British woman in 2012.
Oh yeah, I like
he
this.
He was making
email.
light of veterans, is what he was doing by saying World War I.
Dan said the last World War I vet that passed away was a British woman in 2012, 13 years ago when Travis Kelce was 22 years old. The death of that hero must have made an impression on the young Kelce.
Right.
Or it could have been the last American, Frank Buckles, who died in February 2011 at a ripe old age of 110. So maybe that's what was going through his mind. We don't know.
All right. Do you remember the rant I went on about people that say that if it happened before I was alive, like it didn't happen, or if it happened when I was little, it didn't happen?
Yep.
The guy that you put right to junk mail, which I will now as well, he responded to me. And listen to this, genius.
Ooh.
When did I say I hadn't heard of them? I said no one in your core demo cares. Again, Black Sabbath weren't a band when I was alive. The fact that Ozzy Osbourne
that's not what he's saying. He's saying no one in our core demo cares about Black Sabbath, which is stupid.
Well, my point is this. Ozzy Osbourne performing one last time in his life is a very big deal and certainly worth 2 minutes of conversation. In fact, I don't like Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne. But when my man Eddie Trunk said that they were getting back together and that they're hedging their bets because Ozzy's so effed up physically that they don't know if he's actually going to be able to perform, that's interesting, you stupid moron. And then he goes, glad you have high reading comprehension skills. I do, 760 verbal. You have turned into the old man yelling at clouds. That's the big thing. You're the old man yelling at clouds. If you have a problem with anything, you're the old man yelling at a cloud. That's it. Anyone that has a problem with anything. And by the way, person that I don't care for, I don't know how old you are, but unless you're like 16, you got about 2 more years of this for you. And then you're the old man, you piece of garbage. And then everyone can go ignore anything that's ever happened before you. And way to live your life culturally and art and everything else. Nothing matters from the time. If I wasn't alive, it really bugs me. This narcissism of like nothing occurred until I was on the planet. Like when I was on the planet, That's when everything started. Like, that is almost psychopathic. Like, that means you have no empathy for anything. You can't experience anything. Like, the world, you're saying the world literally revolves around you. And I don't even think it's young people, like younger people. I don't know how old this guy is. He listens to the show every day. But so I'm not going to insult him on the email. But the thing is this, is that I think that's like a kind of a problem. Everyone's just concerned with their own little bubble. Like nothing outside of their line of vision matters. You could learn something by experiencing something, I don't know, that happened when you were a little kid. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne's a cultural icon.
Yeah.
It's not some random guy from like Trickster.
Huh.
He goes this. You said your parents liked jazz and called your music trash. My parents like jazz? My parents had 2 records, idiot. Leo Sayer and Jimmy Buffett's Greatest Hits.
Oh, those are good.
No, they're bad. My parents never listened to music. They listened to the all-news station. My father would go to sleep with CNET, whatever C-SPAN, on full blast with the effing Senate debates going on. My parents like jazz. Yeah, they were real beatniks. They were real hipsters. My dad voted for Nixon.
Oh.
Now you call modern music trash and put classic rock on a pedestal. Classic rock on a pedestal? What classic rock bands am I such a big fan of? You know me so well. What an idiot. You can't come back at me with nonsense. My big, there was a big Whitey Fro era right then.
I don't know. This is stuck in my craw, Fred, because I agree with what you said. This kind of, insistence that these people have but it's they take it a step further. It's the audacity of my worldview should be embraced by everybody around me. Like, that's the thing that I find to be the most audacious.
And by the way, if you're so unoriginal, the old man yelling at a cloud thing, like, I have no time for you.
No, there's nothing to
like
this.
you. That's the insult you come up with is a effing meme.
Because there's no
from The Simpsons that started in 1989.
There you go.
From a show that started in 1989, a character that was designed by Al Jean, who went to Farmington Harrison 20 years before I went to high school.
Let me tell you something. That you make me feel like Dancing Song had a hell of a track listing for the musicians.
Yeah.
You won't believe who was playing on that record.
Who was on the record?
Spotify in 2024. Everyone's very interested.
Oh, is this yours, Fred?
Here are the bands.
Okay.
Cool Keith, The Hold Steady, they're still active. Das Racist, MF Doom, Alkaline Trio, Drake, which is my daughter, Sugar, Victor Vaughn, who's MF Doom, Clowns, which is a current band, Beastie Boys, Alkaline Trio, Only Crime, MF Doom, Descendants, Juliana Hetfield for some reason, Public Enemy.
Love Juliana.
What is Jeff Rosenstock? Like, what are these classic rock bands? Oh, I love classic rock radio so much. I can't get enough of it. There's no in between. You have to, that if you know Ozzy Osbourne, you worship his feet. That's my point.
It's one person who is such a lunatic. I told you. I will show you how to set.
I'm not mad at that person.
Yeah.
I'm mad at this somewhat generational idea that when I was a kid, I didn't care for hippies. Mm-hmm. I thought that the boomers insisted on themselves. But there was a ton of stuff that I went back and was very interested in. Isn't that the point of art? Like, you discover something, right?
No.
And then you go back and find out, oh, where did this all come from?
Point of art is field trips.
And if you well, art comes in many forms. I mean, it certainly
it just took me right back to my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, art is generally if you go to a place where they show like how blacksmiths made things.
You get a day out of school, but you got to wander around the Museum of Art. Awesome.
When do we see the glass blower?
Yeah.
But isn't that like the whole adventure is that like you'll hear something and it really resonates with you, especially when you're younger, because music doesn't matter as much to you as you get older. That's a proven fact. The music you always means the most to you because you're having those emotions is when you're in that age group. But when you're a kid, like going back, like when you like something, you like a comedian, right? And you're like, oh, he was on Saturday Night Live. Like, oh, I saw Eddie Murphy Raw or whatever. Oh, he was on Saturday Night Live. You start going back. Oh, he was 19 when he was on Saturday Night Live. This is impressive. He was on Johnny Carson when he was 18. Let's go see that. Like all this happened before I knew what was going on. It's just this. It's such a narcissistic point of view. Pew.
Well, it's a lack of curiosity, and the type of person that sends that email is a person that exhibits
uses
a lack
memes.
of curiosity.
That uses
Exactly.
memes to talk, which I don't do. I don't do that, and I'm an idiot.
Thank you. My friend Kevin sent me a text.
On your
which
phone?
we can do it. Yeah, look, it's a way of like emailing, but it's just short speak.
How do people do that? You know a guy like that?
He says, punter's chance means gambler in Irish English slang. You're welcome.
I was unaware of that.
So I think for all the times when we have said me, 12, Wallach, have you
I have
to
too.
it?
I used to. Yeah, I used to.
We're okay in saying it. It's not as common as puncher's chance, but punter's chance does have a meaning.
It makes us sound more sophisticated, a little European.
Look at that.
Huh?
Exactly.
Huh?
Oh, that look at he's a real punter.
Nothing more sophisticated than a Liverpool gambler.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
OTB over in London, always well populated, always clean.
Yeah, a nice betting with the 5,000 betting places they have in Manchester.
The betting parlors.
The betting parlors.
Yeah.
That's a real
Always a
who's
place you
who
wanna hang out, yeah.
of the society's elite.
An email from Sarah from Everett.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet.
Jesus
All right.
Party.
Good.
Favorite part of the day, 6 a.m. to 6:21 a.m. Best radio. Your talk of Willie Nelson reminded me of a dear townie friend, better named Porter, better known as Joe Dirt. He cashed in his Marlboro bucks and treated him and his wife to a week at the Marlboro Ranch. The only thing he talked about from his experience were the bowls of single cigarettes at every venue.
I know. There was a Marlboro store in downtown St. Louis, and they had a pool table that you could get exchanged for miles, and it was like, 100,000 miles.
But that would kind of be awesome. Back when I was on the Marlboro Lights, that was my brand for years. That to go to a place where they just had bowls.
It's called a bar, and you just go, "Can I bum a cigarette?" I mean, seriously.
But the bowls were
No, I
like
understand.
Skittles.
I understand.
Oh.
Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit about music not mattering as much. I mean, I listen to a lot of hip hop, and recently I started kind of digging into where samples came from of different music, and then I would go and listen to all this funk and soul, and it was just like opened my world.
Let me clarify. That you're absolutely right. I didn't mean that you're not going to enjoy music. I meant like that emotional connection to it, right? Like when you're 15 and having all this angst, you don't have that angst when you get older. Like love, like girls breaking up with you, like all that resonates so much, and it means so much to you when you discover it. It's like a like-minded individual, like it speaks to you in a way that I don't think I don't think just emotionally for most people it has that effect. I mean, I listen to music. I just did it. I listen to bands that are still around that have just started recently, but I get what you're saying. And I have gone back. Paul's Boutique, I loved it. So I went back and I found all the samples. It was a lot of fun. All right, thank you, Josh. There you go. All right, we have the stack coming up.
We can also, if you guys want to, cross over with Zolak and Bertrand. They are up and running and able to do that.
I would like that.
If you would like that.
I would like that. So let's plan on that.
Okay.
About 51.
On the nose.
9:51.
If they're not up at 9:51, let's just say that you're going to have a meeting.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Let it be. Not with me in it.
No, you're not coming to this one?
I'm not coming in today.
I'm busy. My phone rang. All right. We will be back in just a moment.
It's snowing.
Here.
Sports Hub.
any album I ever have.
Jack Black looks great, by the way, now.
Jack Black has entered, I think, a phase in his life where he's just not going to try at all anymore. He's just not. What's the point?
I actually felt concern. I saw something online yesterday, and the way he looked, I was actually like, "Oh no!" Like, I'm not making fun of him. Like, I was like, "Oh boy." I mean, I've looked terrible, very terrible. I still look terrible, but not as terrible as I did.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
there's a time you get into that space.
There was an incident on stage after the attempted assassination of President Trump, where Kyle Gass, one half of Tenacious D, said something to the effect of, for his birthday wish, "Don't miss next time," which was taken very seriously by not just people who were Donald Trump supporters, saying that was a little insensitive. So they said, Tenacious D, tour shut down. We're not going to do anything for a while. They are now back. They are back with a contribution.
Like, let it blow over. It wasn't even a big deal. Like, it didn't become a big deal. Like, you know how the media is. The media leans
Did he
incredibly
think it
left.
would cost him movie roles of some kind?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, but
voiceover work in his movie roles.
And his PR people and his agent. I mean, I think he's probably a good guy, but his PR people and his agent probably said, "You got to do something. You got to do something." And he was like, "Oh, Jesus, okay." But you know, it's just a lesson that, like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I like Jack Black, but that move was whack.
Yeah.
I did not mean to do that. Apologies.
Well, you did it, and now you got to live with it.
Now I don't even want to do the rest of the story. I'll move on to
I mean, what's the
something else.
point?
What's the point of anything?
All right, so they're getting back together.
They're going to do some stuff.
By the way, we are doing our contest tomorrow. We found the contestants, and for the big, what do they call those?
May December romance.
May December romances, and we got some allegedly big old age gaps.
We were worried about having enough people sign up for it. We had a lot of people sign up.
I'm very proud of our audience, and a couple of women. And I'll tell you this, they got picked right away. We're honoring you, young lady. Like, that's what, or older woman. We're honoring you.
So what time are we doing that tomorrow?
Go ahead, Ed.
Hello?
I was just saying, no, I was on with Zoe. He's champing at the bit to get on.
Good.
Okay.
What time we do? Just quickly, what time we doing the May December contest? Tomorrow?
We'll be setting that up tomorrow morning, right around 7:45, and then 8 o'clock is when the contest goes off.
Because I can't say what I thought, because if I'm wrong, then everyone panics, because it's a contest and then it gets all crazy.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so very good. So wear your finest clothes tomorrow, because this is going to be a big deal. All right, so Zoe's chomping at the bit. And we did promise at 9:51, which is in now 4 seconds, that we will
keep
go
Zoe
to
waiting. Can't
Shut
do
up,
that.
Wallach.
Oh, shut up, Wallach.
All right.
Jackwagon. Frickin' Jackwagon.
Nice.
How you feeling there, big guy?
Hey, guys.
Hello, Scotty Z.
How we doing?
We are fine. How is New Orleans? Is it fun?
It's great. It should be here every year. It's the best city to host. The amount of space, like you guys see the set. We finally got a desk this year. I think it looks pretty good.
Looks great.
Guests are rolling in. We're packed today. Starting right off top of the show with Kurt Warner. Media night was the other night. There was some nut job that paid his way down, held a sports thing up and asked weird questions. And they want it banned from all Super Bowls moving forward.
Well, that would destroy his career.
That'll be the thing.
No.
It'd be neat, Fred. It'd be neat if it was like something different or new.
No, I know. I just feel bad at this point. I really do. I swear to God. I never mentioned it.
I can vouch for that. He said that off the air.
Yeah, I
cringed. I cringed. We all cringed.
Yeah.
It's
of course.
It's something, boy.
It was bad. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to beat the guy up.
I made eye contact with the back. I saw the back.
Oh, you did?
It's just rolling around through here. Yep, Radio Row getting. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Arm farts, and horns. Waka waka.
All right.
Who else do you have today? Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. Teddy Bruschi.
How'd you get him?
I was just Capella's done a fantastic job this year, pre-booking everybody. Like we're banged out.
Are there a lot of media there, or is it like okay? There is.
Now.
Okay,
yeah,
so there's like radio stations from other places and stuff.
Oh yeah. So Felger the other day was talking. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
He was talking the other day with Mad Dog about how it's not all radio stations anymore. But I went through the middle of the room yesterday.
It's radio.
I think there are more radio stations this year
Than in Vegas. It was more
than there have
podcasts.
been in 5 years.
Oh, that's good news.
Terrestrial
Yes.
radio station.
This is the
Big
city
markets.
to do it, though. Like our location, our hotel's pretty much right across the street. Everything's walkable here. The food's been great. You're not waiting for anything. Ubers are quick.
Is it like a party atmosphere already, or is that not begun yet?
I mean, you got
Very
your weird.
quiet here last night for the Wednesday of a New Orleans.
They
Super
shut
Bowl
Pat
week.
O'Brien's down at midnight last night.
Yeah, it was quiet.
There was nobody
It was
in there
weird.
for like the last 2 nights. But no big deal. Like, get back to the bed because we start early. But it's a nice little walk. We've done
Maybe
a
you
lot of
did.
walking. Shaq Khan's boat's parked right out in front of our hotel.
Oh,
That
that's
thing's
cool.
$450 million.
Yeah, that's
It's freaking huge. Oh, my
So
God.
today, Kurt Warner, Andrew Whitworth, Steve Weish, Craig Carton, Jeff Saturday, Greg Olson, Teddy Bruschi, Dan Orlovsky, Marcus Allen.
That's all today?
That's all today.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Tet McMillan might stop by at some point.
The receiver from
That's
Arizona.
a possibility.
We're trying to get him.
Could be a top 10 pick.
And we're going to play our Drake May interview from last night.
Yes.
We went to his ping pong event. Had a nice interview with him. We'll play that at noon. And he may be by in person today to stop by and say hi.
Jesus Christ.
Look at that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
A lot
glad
of
you
things
got
happening here, boys.
Yeah, well, look at that's a absolutely packed show.
You guys might. Well, hey, how's the weather back there?
It's wonderful.
You
Schools are
may want to
closed.
track the one flight where everybody's coming down.
Oh,
from
yeah, I
the
know.
Sports Hub. Hey,
that's too bad.
Mitch, just send me your credit card, baby. We're here. I'll eat. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's funny. That's actually
Oh my
funny.
God, dude! I feel
That
bad.
makes me happy.
That actually does make me a little happy. They like, just sit it out at the airport for a little while if you're going down.
Remember
there.
last year the wings got clipped. Remember? And
Well, yeah,
then-
that was probably pretty scary. But you know what? If
Yeah.
you want to sit in a weather delay for a few hours at the airport, I'm okay with that.
At what point do you start feeling bad for him? How many hours?
Well, it's when he missed
Not
the dinner
today.
that you already had to put
It would-
70% down for, right?
It would be tomorrow is when I would
Yeah.
feel bad.
Yeah.
So they can be
Dude,
there
it's
all-
only 9:50 in the morning. If you get out today, that's a relief. At least a day.
All right, good.
All right, guys. That's good. I'm a fan of Craig Carton. So
Shador Sanders just walked by.
Travis Hunter was with him.
And Travis Hunter. Not that big, those guys.
No, Travis Hunter's big.
yeah, that's the knock on Shador, right?
Good size.
All right.
Shador's not 6'4", like he's 10.
No. All right. Well, you guys have
See
a
you
great
guys.
show. It sounds like
All right.
it's going to be great. We appreciate it.
Sports.
There you have it. There you have it.
That's what it said right on the mic flag.
And if you're going to do an ironic sports thing, might as well talk about sports in a very literal way. All right, very good, and not obvious and pandering in any way either.
Oh my! Stop.
All right, goodbye. All right,
felt bad for him.
That'll do it. I do, but you brought